Last we left our heroes, you had arrived in the City of Doors, where in short order you made a fair few friends, but more problematic, some worrisome enemies. As you tucked into dinner and drinks in this adventurer-friendly tavern, an explosive shot rang out, and you were called out to answer for some perceived slights you had caused in your brief time in the city. You peered out into the bazaar, and past the scattering townspeople, you saw a fiendish creature leading a group of Crimson Coin mercenaries and some other odd folk. These mercenaries were positioned and armed well. As they called out to you, Hondo slipped at the back and attempted to get in an advantageous position, meeting your odd toad-like anarchist friend as the rest of you stepped out into the market. You came to meet this leader, lieutenant, commander, whatever it may be, of this group of Crimson Coin, where he demanded gold as repayment for lost product and time, and also demanded a gesture to show fealty to the general and to the coin. To this, Valentine responded with his own insults and immediately summoned the Light of the Summer Queen, and you fell into battle. Though the mercenaries then later began with the upper hand, your crew easily overpowered and decimated their numbers. The leader, Juza, suffered the worst fate and was picked apart by your spells, and after mere seconds, you sent the remaining members scattering into the night, but not before they lit the interior of second chances of flame. As the flames were battled back with the aid of your magic, a pair of armored individuals rushed onto the scene and with authority began to take control and establish order over the bazaar, organizing cleanup and removal of the dead and getting statements from all the parties involved. As a key part of this encounter, you were met by one of these figures called the Mercy Killers, named Kendra. As you spoke, though you weren't being looked at as antagonists, given the coin's involvement, you also weren't being looked at quite as favorably as you'd hoped. She explained that this balance between the criminal factions and those who uphold law is delicate, and though it may not look like it, it was an agreeable status quo that had been hard won in blood. It would do no innocents any good to rile up the coin any more than they already are. You understood. However, you also made it clear you had intentions or ideas to aid one side of this conflict. You hope to see the Lady of Pain and possibly bring balance of some better kind to this city. To this, Kendra was less than pleased, and ultimately you were put on a loose house arrest, and it was decided she and or some other Mercy Killers would be standing guard to watch over you for the coming days, both to ensure no harm comes to you and that you do no harm to this balance. Regardless, you bed down for the night, had a quick visit from your anarchist friend Horace, where you discussed the potential for purchasing of illicit items, and ultimately hired him as a bit of information delving to see why the coin are so interested in this ore that Doc had been harassed over. You rested, awoke, had breakfast, and were met once more by Kendra, who accompanied you through the market on the way to the Hall of Concordance in the Ladies' Ward, where you have intended to return this odd gold disc inscribed upon it that you pulled from the chest of one Alfred, former steward of the Alabaster Tower. And as you crossed through the different sections of town, you left behind this organized chaos of the market, and you enter into a clean, orderly society. The people walking about here are clearly cleaner and wealthier, their homes and businesses reflecting that as well. As you stroll through the ladies' ward en route to the hall, we begin today. We'll say at this point, actually, 1 point of order. You owe 29 gold and 5 silver for your accrued stay at the inn and your meals for that time, including your breakfast this morning and this next night's stay. So
I can take that out of party
basically
funds.
30 gold, make it so easy.
You got it. Actually, I'll just cover this from my funds. Let me just do that. 30.
Sure. That covers this night as well, so you'll be able to go back and crash there, but that will not cover any further meals of the day, so we'll cover that as we go along. And also, I will preface, this is about a 2 to 3 hour kind of walk to get where you're going that Kendra would have given you the heads up on. So is there anything you want to do over the next 2 to 3 hours as you're making your way across the city?
We don't have to RP it, but I am really trying hard. Not annoyingly so, but I'm trying to get in her good books. So I'm just occasionally asking her about her time here, just trying to just win her over a bit, just trying to seem real pleasant like.
Sure. Go ahead and make we'll call it a persuasion check because you're actively trying to persuade her. However, I am going to give you disadvantage given the back foot you're kind of starting on.
Yeah. That feels fair.
So we're following her right now, right?
She's kind of leading you through to this point that you've kind of agreed on, and she's like, I'll take you to the Hall of Concordance. And it was kind of a loose, like, I'm going to shadow you for today, and really let's try not to spend too much time outside of second chances. Would you roll?
Could have been a 33, which would have been rad, but it's only a 23, which is still good, but it could have been real high. Yeah.
We'll come back to that. As let's get Master Karanja, if you can throw me a d6.
Nothing's going to happen right now, Kyle, but while we're walking too, I want to keep an eye out to make sure that, see if anyone's following us or watching us too closely.
Yeah, throw me a perception check. We'll call this for the first hour as you guys are going along.
Did you say D6?
D6, yep.
Okay.
Just a fun D6 for the kids.
Is Horace with us?
Horace is not with you. You have not seen Horace since the night previous. Okay.
A 1.
20 total.
20 total. So over the first hour, as it's not far. This probably gets you almost to the point where we kind of ended the last game, where you guys have crossed into that barrier between, and there's not like a gate between the wards, but there's a deciding difference. You can feel a shift in the air, like it smells and breathes in cleaner and nicer, though there's no obvious change. But the buildings themselves are clearly different in their makeup. There's a more affluent nature to the people. It's just a seamless transition into the next. And as you make that transition at about the half hour, 45-minute mark, and by the hour mark, Val, as you're speaking with Kendra, she's warming. Maybe not warming. Warming even seems too much, but she is definitely not
softening a touch.
Softening a touch. That's a really good way to put it. She's not quite as
slightly more pointed. Neutral.
Yeah, not quite as pointed at you, and more in like a kind of a sharing back and forth. Though you all gather, she is very, very business, very kind of curt in her responses, and just kind of like on duty, like what you would expect from someone who is like escorting you through as almost more bodyguard than pal. But by the end of this hour, feels a little bit nicer.
Her superior was a hobgoblin, but what is she?
She appears human, though you have not seen her fully with her helm off, but seems human, if not maybe half elven, but thus far human. She seems young is the other thing you note. If you were to say human in human years, like mid to late 20s, 27, 26.
Got it.
So a little younger than you kind of expect for a figure of this kind of authority. Mary, as you guys cross the kind of barrier between, you do catch not people following. You do catch a couple of glances as you are in this new wing, this new ward, the ladies' ward specifically. You can see there's a couple people who seem almost, classically, obviously rich, nose in the air, kind of an air of douchebaggery about them. Immediately you get you don't like them feel. You're getting a couple of glances from those types of people as they pass you in the streets or as they look down from their windows, but you catch sight of two figures that are passing you on opposite sides of the street. They're headed away, you're headed in this direction. They're peculiar in what they look like. Both are floating. You see they're wearing long robes of deep red and kind of purple, like a royal purple like accent, like on like the collar bits, and their hands are invisible as like the two arms of the robe crisscross and kind of have their arms in amongst these long big hooping sleeves. But the peculiar part, besides the kind of floating nature, is the decidedly alien view, the visage, kind of gray, light purple skin, these kind of faint horns of white horns that kind of rise in these very tiny little points. and kind of a friar tuck like white band of hair that kind of is gently kind of floating as they're floating. They have this kind of long, elongated face, elongated slits for noses, and like deep, long mouths, almost in like an ebony maw kind of face, but less overtly evil, but certainly like the same kind of darkness to them in the stare that they give to your group. They full watch you as you cross, and for like a full couple minutes continue like looking past, and like they swivel and follow and like continue drifting backwards. And then after 3-4 minutes, you're beyond each other's sight, but there was a decided pointed look at you.
Did I get any, like, did it seem curious? Did it seem antagonistic? Or it's too hard to read?
No, go ahead, make an insight check. You spotted them, and it's so open, it's so overt. I'd give you the check.
Okay. I rolled very well.
Okay.
Jesus, what is that math? That's 20, 32.
Okay. It was a studying look, like trying to read you, similar to the way you would look at someone for like a know your enemy, like how you break them down to the core elements, and how best you can utilize your own abilities against them. You get there was an element of them breaking down each member of your group visually, mentally, and it's the best you can tell from a distance.
Okay.
Does Val notice that?
I would say you would catch like the sight of these figures, like as you're kind of passionate, like, oh, those are some weird fucks. But given the fact that you're kind of still trying to focus on charming your compatriot here, I wouldn't say you catch the full stare down they're giving you.
The scope of it.
Yeah. I would give Gord and Hondo, you guys have pretty high perceptions. I'd give you guys the nod that you catch these same individuals as well, and you catch that they linger on you, but you don't get quite the same insights into it as Mary. It's just something they're like, oh, those are weird looking dudes, and they're eyeing me down, but they don't even attempt to cross the street. They don't even attempt to make any verbal communication. They just continue floating along their way, but it's a full stare down.
Sorry, I have another question to go along with that. It's a crowded street. Is it relatively busy?
It is not quite as crowded as when you were in the bazaar, but it's active.
Okay, so if there's other people, are anyone else reacting to them, or it's just like normal people passing by? Like if they were like high levels, it'd be like, ooh, let me get out of the way of this person, like anything like that.
You do notice that anyone else is giving them a wide berth and decidedly averting their eyes.
Okay.
But with your passive insight, not out of respect, but like partially out of respect and partially out of fear.
Okay.
Mary hasn't told us any of this though, right?
None of the insights that she's gained.
No, the most would be like, okay, that was fucking weird. But like, I don't want to make a scene or say a lot in front of while we're walking with our guard. I also don't want to offend anybody. It's mostly my problem of being like, hey, who are those fucking weirdos? Mm-hmm.
Kendra I'd make a point of just like, or pay any mind.
Yeah. Okay. But if I'm like, I'd probably be in the back because I usually am. So I imagine I'm also, yeah. If Gord was there, at least, because that's where Gord usually stands, at least like would see me clocking them.
Mm-hmm.
And just, yeah, okay, that was fucking weird. That's something to think about.
Yep. Like I say, Gord and Honda would have caught the same like stare down, but not got the same insights. as you guys you just continue walking, Valentine and Kendra kind of having a polite conversation, if a little short from her side, making your way through the city street. And as I say, this is a much nicer area of town. You see fewer and fewer shops and storefronts, and the few that you do see are like simple looking bookstores or little cafes, nice, very nice places, but nothing that immediately kind of sparks your aid to adventurers style. A little window shopping never hurt anybody, but after about an hour and a half, pushing into that 2-hour mark, you hear a voice calling out, not aggressively, but just kind of calling out above the kind of general din of the city. And on the far side of the street, again, you see a woman in a simple kind of frock dress, with like a paper, like a rolled scroll, kind of waving it above her head, and just calling out, "Independent Daily here, new printing, free cager here," and just continually kind of saying this over and over. And as people are coming down the street, she hands one to them, picks up another from a pile, and just continues this kind of call that she has this paper.
I always like to support up and coming writers. Mind if we grab one of those, Kendra?
Yeah, fill your boots. She follows with you, like just crosses alongside. And as you approach, you can see the definitive half-elven features of this woman, seemingly in her mid-years, which is elder for a half-elf. And she is continuing the kind of call to action. And as soon as she sees you approaching, kind of locks eyes, gives you just a nod and hands you the one that's in her hand. Doesn't ask for any payment or anything, just picks the next one up and just continues on what she's doing here. As you continue walking past, Kendra kind of pulling you along after you now hold the scroll, this paper, you do see this kind of single piece newspaper, this single piece. Though it's written with no form, no order. There are boxes of text in all different arrangements and different directions. It's chaos to read. You can see there's one block text going this way and then it breaks off this way, and there's little drawings and small comics and almost like sketches all over. No, words or explanation to some of them, just a random drawing. You do see a couple of little advertisements for various businesses. In the middle, you catch kind of centrally focused, as if everything around it is focused into this one element. You see this little phrase in this little box written, "Keep your options open. Nobody's got the key to the truth," with an attribution to the Ivory House. And finally, you notice as you're kind of flipping through, and it's weird to read and be trying to gather which way to read each paragraph. And one of the drawings, it's kind of not stick figure, but not super artistically done. However, you read above a title, above this small little square picture that has seemingly like a male figure and these great wings kind of rising out of the back atop this marketplace. And you see the title says "The Lady's Domain?" ? And a small caption underneath it says, "A call to action or cruel reminder?" ?
Does that picture look a little like me? It's pretty crude, I guess, it's hard to say.
Pretty crude, but the armor and the wings definitely feels like it.
A call to action, or what was the end of it?
Cruel reminder.
Cruel reminder. How do I'll just shorten my pace to walk beside Mary a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be like, "Would you look at this?" Oh my gosh, I gotta get it back. "Would you look at this? Some of it looks like gobbledygook to me. I know you're good at reading riddles and all that." And I'll hand it to her and hope she gets my drift.
Mary, as you're kind of looking through, do you give it like a good look, or are you kind of quickly reading?
If I'm able to, or I could always hang on to it and actually give it a good look later. We're still moving pretty fast, right?
You're moving as fast as you want to. You know, Kendra is
It can be like lazily strolling.
Kendra's leading the charge. She would be moving fast, but as the group slows the pace, she's going to slow the pace. She's not going to leave you.
Okay. I'll elbow Hondo, say, hey, just keep an eye out for sketchy fucks, also pocket pickers, and I'll take a look at the...
Sure.
See if there's any...
Ready to drop at a moment's notice.
Oh, that makes me less confident. See if there's any thieves' canty shit or anything else I can kind of...
Sure.
From it.
Just at a quick glance, and make an investigation check.
Sure.
God, I love this place so much. There's so much cool shit here. It's so cool.
Is it Mary or I making the investigation?
This is Mary. But if you want to watch for pocket pickers, that's a good point. Make a perception check for me, and other interesting things.
Okay, that was a 16 on the dice, plus 14. So is that 30?
30.
A 30 gives you a solid read through, even at a quick pace, that many of the articles are almost like opinion pieces. They don't seem to necessarily it's definitely news. Like there's elements of news, of like you catch a blurb talking about public executions, and like a list of figures who are to be executed today, and in the ladies' ward, and you get no sign of any thieves' camp. There seems to be nothing hidden amongst the text, which is both a relief and a little bit of a letdown, though you definitely confirm this seems to be a direct call to your actions from the night previous.
Yeah, get to the little cartoon of Val and just like large sigh, and then just
It's
like
not bad.
Stare, look at
They didn't
look at Val.
My hair that much. Like they could have done a little more artistic detail on the hair, but wings and armor look real nice.
Yeah.
What was your perception, Kev?
So I rolled a 6, but it's one of those automatic 10s, plus 13, 23.
Okay. For the time being, you keep your eyes out and you're looking around. You don't see anything immediately, but you're now kind of our point of like watching for intriguing figures and ne'er-do-wells for the remaining hour here, as you were continue on.
Hey, Kendra, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Just took a glance at that. I think it's called the Cager, that little piece of newspaper. The main focal point was this little center box. Said something about an ivory tower. You know anything about that?
Probably the Ivory House. It's a bathhouse in the it's a bathhouse in the Grand Bazaar, but that's not necessarily where the Cager is from. The Cager is a trying to find my notes quickly.
What you looking around there for, Kendra? Just asked you a casual question.
You know, as a mercy killer, you got to keep on edge at all times. This figure over here looks odd and peculiar to me, but nonetheless, it's okay.
That's just Henry.
As I said, the Independents, they do operate every so often out of the Ivory House. Not that they have a leader necessarily, but they congregate there, and they definitely believe in this idea of keeping your mind open and free and keeping independent.
The Ivory House was what Horace had recommended to Hondo to look for some companionship, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It was a bathhouse where you could get maybe more.
Gotcha. All right.
We'll be back there.
She kind of looks up and down the paper and just says, In truth, it's good what they do. Keep people informed. Though I think they could keep it a little bit more organized. It's chaos to read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the design layout is not mass.
No.
There is certainly some schooling that could be done.
Could be improved. Let's have Allie throw me a d6.
Ooh, okay. A 5.
Okay, perfect. This last hour, as you guys are continuing through this area of town, you kind of fall into just looking at the places, and it's a nice stroll. But maybe 45 minutes past this point, as the conversation is kind of dimmed ever so slightly, you can see the buildings begin to change from residential and Parisian style cafes and kind of leisurely areas to become more business centric, and the buildings begin to grow taller, more intimidating, more imposing. However, they all begin to kind of fan out as there's kind of this big open, like a city square center, this big public square. And even at a distance, as you're walking down the main drag, you can see that there is a raised platform of stone set into the middle of this area. And even at a distance, you can see 2 tall pieces of wood and a large blade between them. And you can see a crowd kind of gathering, as you can see a very obvious guillotine, still slick with blood, set into the middle of this raised platform of stone, and a crowd of maybe 30, 40 people kind of gathered around in low anticipation, kind of this murmur as you approach. Kendra does not lead you directly into the heart of it and would lead around unless any of you divert that path. She'll continue. You'll still be able to see, but you won't be close. As you do begin to catch from a distance, still called out, enunciated loud over the crowd, the crowd kind of does die down as this figure that you can see stands tall, adorned similarly to Kendra, full plate armor, but the armor is red, like either painted or stained or dyed in some capacity. The metal is turned fully red, but you can see the same sigil of the Mercy Killers very openly clasped, and it's in this kind of silver platinum, and it stands out as he kind of holds out a scroll and reads aloud: Dominic Whitfield, for public endangerment, association with the Free League Anarchists, and arson. Your punishment is death. And the crowd kind of like begins to build with anticipation as 2 other figures who are dressed the same as Kendra, more of this kind of classical armor, pull this human kind of male down between the guillotine and hold him as he's like fighting and bucking and yelling and screaming, really incoherently, but screaming about his freedom and how this is his last stance of freedom. But it is cut short as the guillotine falls. The dull thud and almost like a polite golf clap cheer from the crowd. There's no massive kind of eruption, but this seems to be kind of a normal, common thing for them to have witnessed as you kind of make your way past. You can see another couple people are being pulled and lined up to be executed next.
Andrew, is that man there one of the dust men? Do I have that right?
No, the dustmen are easy to spot. They are the dead, the living dead, however you want to look at it. They occupy the lower ward. In these cases, with public executions, it comes down between the Mercy Killers and the governors to kind of organize and execute the crimes and those who have committed them, and then we take care of dispersal and what becomes of the bodies. in other cases around the city where people die of natural causes or otherwise, that's when we call it the dustman.
Oh, all right. Can I ask you a question? You seemed so on edge last night when we were talking about some of our goals and what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
There just seems to be such tension. Does this feel like a powder keg right now on the streets of trying to keep order amidst the chaos?
I wouldn't call it a powder keg, but I wouldn't call it easy. As I explained last night, we have not had civil war like we had in only a few years previous. That was a powder keg. This now is a boiling pot. It's manageable, but every now and again it overflows, and you have to put a lid back on.
Like last night.
Well, last night was a little bit of a boil over, that's for sure. But it would have been nice had we had more of a response quicker. But you managed to deal with that in record time. I'll commend you for that, with relatively minimal loss, given the Crimson Coin's involvement.
Well, if you're dealing with a pressure cooker moment, you just need to poke a few holes and things seem to settle down. And they can't really get back to the top, if you know what I mean.
I understand your intent here, but that would imply that poking holes would relieve all of the pressure, rather than poke the dragon beneath, who exerts more and more pressure. And ultimately, those few holes begin to crack the entirety.
Maybe their version of that, Henry, is these executions trying to quell the bubbling. Is that dragon just like hyperbole, or do you mean the general?
In truth, I do mean the general. There's no two ways about it. The general, I consider our enemy, though for the time, this agreement between the lady and the general, unspoken as it is, has led to this delicate balance. If they keep to their territory, if they keep to their areas and don't cause outward warfare, then we cut back where they do and allow what we have been told to allow where they can.
Well, Kendra, if he's an enemy to you, then he is no friend to us.
Well, that is good. I would not count him to have many friends in general, and certainly not to a couple of new folk in town with considerable power. For my safety's sake and my city's safety's sake, I'm glad to hear you have opposition.
We're just trying to make friends everywhere we go.
Well, yesterday is kind of an interesting case study in that.
We're not very good at it now. I never say we're good at it, but we try. We certainly do try.
I will say you ingratiated yourself to Doc Smith, and he is a notoriously gruff bastard who doesn't really have any friends. And the fact that he came to like you so quickly, that is a testament. And that the Crimson Coin hated you so quickly is also a testament.
Oh, well, getting people to hate us is something that comes very natural to us despite our friendly demeanor. And we love Doc, and we certainly love Vidane. That man can make quite a meal.
Well, Vidane loves everybody, but nonetheless.
Let's just say people who don't like us usually end up dead.
I mean, Henry, that is some funny words. He's just a jokester.
She kind of looks you up and down and says, I truthfully believe that. Though, let's hope you hold your blade steady for now.
Well, that's why we try to make friends.
Well, you're certainly going to want to make friends here as you watch the courtyard has left you long behind, and the streets have kind of continued, but that the dark looming of the buildings over top has continued. However, as you're watching the right side of the street kind of begins to open up, and you lose the buildings to the right as you see the open kind of deep cobblestone courtyard begin to spread this long stretch down to the right. You watch the old stone buildings continue to flank the left and right of this deep stretch of cobblestone. You see a selection of patios, some open door taverns flanking the left and right sides. However, the focal point is this massive ornate building that dominates the scene at the far end. A tall arched building stands overbearing with a wide length of stone staircase that leads up to two massive golden doors set to the left and right of these twin marble pillars that kind of sit at the base and rise to a point. They split the kind of middle of the arched kind of building. Atop these marble pillars, you see two braziers of blue flame. However, even at this distance, several hundred feet away, at the base, between the two doors, between these two pillars, you see a massive bronze or brass statue. A singular figure, seemingly robed, elegant, a face framed by a ring of blades, like an ornamental headdress. The right arm held straight out and holding a set of scales aloft in this classical kind of justice symbol as she gestures to the Hall of Concordance as requested.
Well, thank you so much. Are you coming in with us, or do you want us to meet you somewhere?
No, I think I'll just wait outside for you. I have no business in there, and in truth, sometimes those of the hall get a little irate when other factions enter without business and an agreed appointment. Though to the newcomers of the city and to the citizens, they are more than welcome to accept.
We're returning something from our plane that belongs with them.
You did make mention of that. Some element, some disc. Hopefully they need it. I don't know.
And this is also where we would ask about potentially leaving the cage. Is that something you can put in an application or something, or do we have that wrong?
You could do that here. You could also, I think you'd be better off doing that with the governors in the clerk's ward. Or no, let me pause here. Let me confirm whether they're in this ward or not, because I think actually I might be wrong. They might be here. They are the city court. Which is here. She says, we could lead you to the city court, though a permit you would need a portal key. That can be a lengthy process. So maybe worth starting early if you're itching to get somewhere. But that can take some time if you're looking to go through them. To go through the Hall of Concordance could be faster, but certainly more costly.
And the governors, they have allegiance to the Lady of Pain. They kind of...
The governors and ourselves consider they the writers of the law and us the enactors.
Writers of the law. All right. I guess the last question is, any advice before we go in here? You said it can be a little crazy. It can be a little pricey.
Well, pricey. Deals are struck here. Deals are made. And those deals can be pricey, and even to get it done here alone, given the level of strength the deals can have from within here, it can come with a price. Though, if you're just returning something, perhaps they look on you fondly, and unless you have any ideas of what deal you're looking to make here, I think my advice would be upfront and to business.
All right,
I'll
we
appreciate that.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll try not to get arrested.
No, that would be very frustrating, I'll be honest, because it would look very weird for me to lead you here and then have to arrest you. It would look very odd.
Certainly not great.
I will wait here, perhaps get some coffee.
I would certainly love one. If you wanted to return the favor, that'd be most kind of you.
I may wait until you get back for it. This could take some time.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, then coffee on the way out sounds like a delicious treat.
Okay. I'll be here. I'll be watching. Take care of yourselves. Don't run off. I don't feel like running.
I awkwardly start to go for like a handshake, open it up to like a hug, and then just cuff on the shoulder.
She like didn't
Start
catch
walking.
the initial move and was already kind of turning away to like sit down at a patio table as you move in, and you just kind of like almost like caress her back for a second with the kind of the fist. She kind of looks at you for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On you go.
Yep. All right.
Um,
Just walk in.
you guys make your way.
How was it as the group suave one? You are just the worst flirter.
Pardon me? Pardon me? I ain't flirting. I'm with Roxanne.
I'm aware of that. As we walk in, Kyle, the whole time when we just like walk in, if it's big or if it's busy, I'm going to be trying to quickly identify groups within decent eyesight that look like nervous or like people who look like they might be talking about like things that are like urgent or anything like that, or if that fails, interesting conversations, and try to lip read little bits anywhere I can to try to see if I can get snippets of news of things that are like important going on.
Sure. Go ahead and throw we'll call it perception, and I'll carry it over a lengthy period of time as you are kind of just keeping an eye. Is there anything else you guys want to do before entering here? Or are you just good to walk in?
What's our plan? It's also a 25.
Okay.
Well, I think our plan should be this disc. I don't know how time works here, but we certainly know that this disc that belonged to Alfred is hella old. It could be something they're interested in, but that could be our only bartering chip. So we just got to be careful. We tell them about it, but maybe ask, we really want a way out of the cage. We want a key. Is that something we could do some sort of trade?
I understand that's what we want, for sure. We want to get out. That's not why we came here, and I'm not sure if today's venture plays into that at all. I don't think we need to come out and say, hey, this is why we came here. That's a terrible idea. I'm just making sure that there's nothing else, other goals that we need to be achieving while we're here.
I feel like our goal overall right now is to try and find a way to talk to the lady, because it's the lady who knows what we need to know.
Yeah, but we need to have something to offer her as well.
We had the general's head.
Well, that's kind of what I think we could offer, but we got to eventually get there. We got to present that idea to the lady, if that's even something she's interested in.
Why present the idea when you can present the head?
Oh my God, Hondo. This is why, Henry, shit. Okay, up here, let's just see about maybe getting a key as a backup plan.
Look, right now, let's just use this as information gathering then, shall we?
Yeah, all right. I really feel like I'm getting an in with Kendra. I feel like she's starting to really like us.
I think she's starting to sometimes tolerate you.
That's
that's
good for me.
That is admittedly a pretty good step up considering most of your first impressions. Did anyone else see those weird gray floaty dudes? I'm gonna ask Kendra about them. I just didn't want to do it within potentially earshot because they creep me the fuck out.
Ask her now before we do anything. It could be important.
I was asking her what her favorite color was and trying to find some sort of commonality there when those things floated by.
I did. What was it? Bright pink? Because I'm kind of doubting that.
It was not bright pink.
Yeah,
it was dull gray.
Complete opposite.
A maroony color.
I like her. I'm not gonna lie.
Because she's a strong silent type, like surprise, surprise, Mary.
Because Sarah. Like she has a good head on her shoulder. You've just been fucking this up.
It's 2 for 2.
Listen, it's a lot right now, okay? Trying to secretly in league with an anarchist.
Right? What's Milkshake doing? That's what I want to know.
Henry's sired a child that we just found out about. There's been a lot going on.
What? Oh wait, I remember now.
Horace is Henry's illegitimate son.
I don't think
somehow trapped here in the cage. Henry's like 100 years old. We don't know what he was doing in those 50 years before he met us.
As you guys have this conversation, just outside
Walking up these steps.
It's a large walk up. You're kind of walking up in like classic like Washington big steps. You finally get to the golden doors and you make your way inside, and immediately are kind of hit by the grand opulence of this open space. Polished marble pillars, walls, and floor create this echo chamber of constant clicking, clacking, tapping, and murmur of conversation. Inside, there is a main structure from which you watch a winding line of cordoned off area, cordoned off by stanchions and rope, guides groups of people through, slowly but orderly. Along the left and right walls, you can see rooms are closed off and run the full length of the building, with the exception of this kind of midway through the left wall. You can see this massive gear and clockwork structure. A massive clock face sits in the middle of the tall arch ceiling, which rise almost 200 feet in height. Very large open space, this kind of peak. But about 100 so feet up, you can see this clock face, and behind it, you see these tubes of brass or bronze, many of them, just towering over the space. It's too far to see from here. You've got the group of people in this kind of middle building structure in the middle of the room to see exactly where those tubes and everything leads, like what's at the base of this structure. However, you do see some rising steam and heat, like you can see rising up and over in the distance from where these tubes begin or end. You're not entirely sure. Finally, you see kind of all around the space, kind of almost always encircling the cordoned off people, this line of kind of back and forth intertwined people, these wheeled constructs that are humanoid in size, like 5-6 feet tall, but two wheels on either side that kind of bend inward and constantly spin as their legs and as the form of movement as they glide effortlessly about the space, perfectly in sync with one another, seemingly almost like coming into immediate contact, about to collide into one another, and both immediately turning on a dime in expert sync as you enter the Hall of Concordance.
Let's look for someone to talk to.
Yeah, is there like a reception desk?
There's just so many of these like robots.
You don't see an immediate sign of a reception desk. If there were to be one, it would be this kind of main building structure. Like you can see almost like a bank teller, like multiple windows, but a line to wait through to get there.
Oh shit, a line. Just get in the line, I guess.
You guys just kind of sidle up and stand in the line. And over the next hour, wait in this line as it just slowly prods along. And Mary,
while we're waiting there, can I ask one thing? Can I look at the robots circling around and try and see if they have a disc similar to what Alfred did?
Sure. With no need to roll for it. These do not have the same structure as Alfred. Alfred was kind of this larger, like barrel-chested, like, head wasn't really a head. It was like this massive eye that was sitting at the top of the kind of triangular-like massive structure body. Seemed like what you would imagine for a construct for combat, like this large structure, combat ready golem almost. These are more spindly and light and fast, and they seem to be just carrying things back and forth like couriers all about the space. Do make a perception check, though.
Sure. Wow, just stuck right on 5. 20.
Okay. Over the time that you're here, kind of waiting and watching and looking about, you do not see anyone with like a disc like set into the chest necessarily. You do see them 2 or 3 times, these kind of spindly rolling constructs carrying almost just like flat and hands out like this, golden discs. similar to that of your, as they kind of wheel about and they take it up to the front desk, and you can't quite see what it is they're doing with it, and then they make their way out and around and off into one of the side rooms down on the right side. At one point, close to the 45 minute to the hour mark, you watch as someone close to the front of the line gets one, and they kind of get two of these rolling figures, one with one of these discs, one kind of alongside with a long spool of parchment, and the three figures, this seemingly like human man, begin to make their way slowly all together off in the distance with one of those discs. But you lose sight of
the spool. Was the spool like printing stuff from this parchment?
It seemed like it could have been either a large long scroll, or it could have been something to, it's hard to identify from a distance, even with a 20. It's like trying to see something like that with detail. You saw that it was a large spool of parchment. It did have writing on it, but you couldn't tell anything further.
I wonder if, I like to say to the party, I wonder if on this disc is like every recorded thing that Mr. M asked Alfred to do, or what he saw, which could be definitely like very valuable information. Let's see when we get up to this fucking head of the line if we can suss that out.
Mary, over this hour, as you had previously rolled to look to see if you could catch glimpses of what people were saying, you certainly can. Whether any of it is of use to you is a little dicier.
Everyone like at the airport politely making conversation.
Yeah, the groups that are groups, a lot of these figures are individuals. There's not many groups, certainly no group the size of 5 like you. At most you have a pair, but for the most part a lot of these are seemingly individuals, so there's not really a whole lot of communication happening. With your perception, I'll give you that you can see about half of these figures you gather look like kind of well off. They all kind of not wearing a uniform, but exactly what you like. They all look like businessmen. They're all wearing like the, what you'd expect, exactly when you were to walk downtown in like the business district. They all look like the same figure, just different versions of the same look. What they're doing and what their purpose is, you're not entirely sure, but they all look like they have the same job, the same purpose. You do catch
like white collar business bros.
Exactly, like lawyers or business in some capacity, like all that kind of stuff. That's kind of what they look like. You catch a couple kind of making, polite conversation with one another. You catch a couple talking about just like, not even gossip, just like talking about stuff at work. You do get that one of them works at the city court. You catch that. But the interesting bit of information you do get is that the pair of figures, you're not entirely sure what their purpose is. You do get the word bounty, and that it seems that they're here to set a bounty. You don't quite catch who on yet, but there's a bounty being placed and they're about to do it.
Well, I'll just focus, if that's the most interesting thing and everyone else is just talking about the weather, I'll focus on that going forward.
Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been much to gather yet. They seem equally as bored as you, and they're tired of this whole standing in line business. You gather they seem similarly adventurers. They don't seem quite as decked out as your group, but they're here doing that for some reason. Finally, as you guys are getting closer and closer to the front, the line begins to kind of break off, and you are called forward to one of these 6 stalls or openings at basically like bank tellers. And behind each, you see a humanoid-faced robot. They're kind of square boxes of brass and brass or bronze, you're not entirely sure, like 2 boxes on top of each other with these long kind of spindly, almost like cartoony arms and almost cartoony faces. They're seemingly like very friendly looking as they just kind of like call you forward with a little hand wave and a next.
I think that's us, guys. Let's saddle up. Hi there.
Welcome to the Hall of Concordance. How can I help you today?
Nice to meet you. My name is Marty. What's your name?
Oh, I don't have a name, but nice to meet you, Marty.
All right. We came into contact with a disc, one of the golden discs that we know is quite old.
By which mean do you mean you came in contact? What is that? What do you mean?
All right. So we found a binding contract that had fulfilled its duties on the construct, a very old construct that had done its part. And so we were wondering, what is the policy on returning these? How does that all work?
You found the remains of a construct with this in it?
That is correct, sir.
Do you have the disc?
We are in possession of the disc, but we just weren't sure how this return policy worked and what could be facilitated by bringing one of these back.
Of course. The policy of return of the policy of return.
No, I think
come with me. And he just immediately just like leaves and like walks out the side of the structure and just immediately just like
guys follow.
I mean, and there's like a rope like to like stop you from going this way. He just kind of hand waves it, just like just come with me.
Just hop it, hold it up for Brawley to walk under. Just like start walking.
This is highly irregular. I will have to speak with the Concordant immediately. Come with me.
All right, thank you.
And he just like, you notice now he's got these like regular 2 legs, and just like very quickly in this kind of weird hopping like walk, half running across the other side of the structure. And now you can see kind of the further like long open middle of this building. You can see these
Excuse me, Mr. Robot, could we start calling you Duo because of your fun little hop and your 2 little legs?
That sounds great, thank you.
All right, Duo.
You call it as he just like booking it in like the most like power walking stance he can. He kind of makes his way across this really long middle of this building to the far end, where you can see these in the middle of one, there's like this kind of elevated platform that's gently lowering. You can see his second one is still resting on the ground. He's making a beeline towards it. As you can see, there are some similar figures like him, identical actually, that are kind of set in the middle of this room, and they are working with like more of these gold discs. You can see gold discs are being made in the middle of this room, and you can see that those tubes are kind of funneling the molten kind of gold down into these kind of forging areas where they're just slowly like filling these almost like a smith filling these molds for more of the discs. But he just charges past and leads you directly to one of these platforms. As one lets down and a figure gets off, the figure you saw earlier, now alone, not with the other 2 kind of roly robots. And he makes a beeline out of the building, not giving you any mind. But this figure immediately just pulls you onto this open platform. There's no guardrails, there's no anything. And he just kind of stands and he just, everyone on, it'll hold you. Don't worry. Just don't fall, hang on. And it just begins to very quietly rise high into the air, 50 feet, 60, 100 feet. And there's no guardrails, and it's just a little unnerving as it rises up and is seemingly about to collide with the roof. And there's just this moment where this figure is not reacting, and there's just a weird second where like you can see like something should change, nothing's changing. And he just,
Duo?
Just hang on. We're on. The Concordant will be here shortly. We will meet with the Concordant. As the platform reaches just to the roof line, the roof kind of like opens and it just floats up, and you can just see this long office directly inside of it already. It stretches out over, and you can see like a glass floor, like you can see directly down beneath, but you can see like it's a almost like a wall of force plane that is just completely clear, with the exception of like very small imperfections that you can make it seem that there is a floor here. Immediately, this figure steps off and begins kind of quickly making his way across the middle of the room. Concordant Collier, we have an irregularity that needs your attention immediately. And you watch as from behind this massive desk, you can see a stack of about a dozen gold discs, all just stacked on one side of this desk. On the other, you can see writing implements, you can see large rolls of parchment and scrolls, and you can see pens, ink and quill, inkwells. And behind seated at this desk, you can see a humanoid construct. It looks very much like Ultron. This like very like human-looking face, but completely metal, silver or platinum in style, but wearing these ornate gold and red kind of robes. There's a large like kind of golden collar over red robes that kind of sits high, and you can see kind of dangling across here a symbol of like balance scales in amongst a gear. These scales inside the gear. And in the midst of kind of writing, continues writing and looks up in your direction, and this kind of like adjusting iris-like eyes of blue light behind, kind of shifting gears amongst them, looks in your direction and says, an irregularity of what kind? And Duo looks to you guys and just,
sir,
yeah.
Mr. Concordant?
You may call me Concordant Collier Root. Indeed.
Thank you for taking the time to meet us today, sir. Duo here was just so kind to quickly whisk us up to you.
It would seem it's a matter of great import.
We have found one of your discs, your contracts, that we know is quite old, centuries old, that belonged to some sort of, I don't know the polite way to say it, some sort of construct like creature like yourselves, but quite big and quite old.
Present the disc.
I'll take the disc out.
kind of stands, and you can see now this guy stands like maybe about 7 feet tall, but still like, not like 30, he's not a monster. He's 7 feet tall, still tall, but a little imposing. Kind of leans up and over, standing over the desk, looking down to you about 5-10 feet. He says, looks to Duo and just makes a gesture, and Duo kind of grabs it from you and just kind of makes his way towards the desk with it. And Duo just not even placing, just like holds it over his head, just holding it up so that the figure can read. And one thing you noted when you took this, however long ago, it was not marked by time. It was, there was no, as much as the passage of time had been forced through the Alabaster Tower, and unfortunately to Alfred, this disc was spared. You watch as the figure, this Collier figure, stands and kind of twists his head as it reads, and you watch as the little guy just kind of twists and spins it as the text seemingly goes around the ring, The concordant looks up at you.
Indeed, an irregularity. This is odd. Where did you find this?
His name was Alfred, sir, and he had a binding contract back where we came from with a powerful wizard.
Alfred. Autonomous life form ratifying eternal duty 0034625 may have taken on a mortal name, but his name does not matter. Where and when, specifically?
We came across this disc in the last couple of days, sir. And where is a place that was between
there.
Yeah, a place between time on the material plane there for a bit.
Between time.
That is correct, sir. I would say the remains of Alfred do exist as well, but I don't know if you're familiar with his size, but he was a little too imposing for us to try and bring here.
I'm quite familiar with the inevitables.
The inevitables.
We all serve mechanists as inevitables, myself included. You appear to know little of our ways, and yet hold this disc. You do not understand its purpose, do you?
Educate us.
We were told by Alfred that he had a job to fulfill and a duty to fulfill, and that's pretty much as far as we got there, sir.
I will educate you, Blue Friend. But first, you spoke with Alfred, and yet you found his remains.
That is correct. We did mention this this bit of lost in time that was transpiring.
You played no part in this passage of time, which has led from an Alfred you may speak to, and one who no longer was capable of that.
We ended up stuck in a bubble of time interference we don't entirely understand. He, in a way, assisted us in getting out of this bubble. The bubble was created a really long time ago when Alfred would have been capable of speaking to us, but when the bubble ended, it was back in our regular time, which was hundreds of years later.
Sir, if I may add, we were trying to set right some chaos into order. Things have been thrown out of balance, and we were trying to, as per Alfred's wishes, set things right and make sure things were balanced once more.
Let's also be clear here. He was a bit of a dick.
He was not, sir. Please don't listen to my friend. No, he was quite nice. He was quite friendly.
But we didn't do anything to him. We helped him. So these hints that you think we had something behind it, I take offense.
Henry, please.
Autonomous life forms ratifying eternal duties have neither the capability nor the intent for ill will to be a dick, as you so say.
He's very sensitive, my friend Henry. He's very sensitive.
Indeed. Well, this is a break from our structure that should be impossible for you to have this disc in your possession, and history on both sides of time, an anomaly. You claim to have set balance in place, ordered chaos, and yet this here stands in opposition of structure and order.
We were hoping us returning this disc to its original location and not having it out in the world would be aiding in returning that balance.
Make a persuasion check. With advantage, given Hondo and Valentine's aid here.
The first one was a 4. The second one was a 16, which ends up, I think, just being 17.
Oh my God.
I almost took a feat that
Better
would have
than
made
the
that better, but
Better than the
instead I
four.
took the mage murderer one. So
It's good. We wanted that.
Perhaps you are, in your mortal way, attempted, and therefore understood. I will explain. These discs serve as contracts upon which deals and bargains are scribed between two parties at minimum, with great significance. They are carved into these discs of material from the clockwork nirvana of Mechanus, our home world. They cannot be marred by physical attack, damage, or time. And as you so see before you, this is true. Likewise, the inevitables, myself, an autonomous life form ratifying eternal duties 0034625, should not be marred by the passage of time nor damage. And yet you claim he has been struck low. This is the anomaly in which I find intrigue. You claim to have no purpose, no actions taken in doing so, and in truth, I believe you, as contact with the inevitable outside of the clockwork of nirvana would be deadly for mortals. In any case, it would take an incalculable force to reduce one of the inevitables, where a mortal could simply remove the pact so freely as you have done. Thus, it must remain. The deal, the pact forged, still stands. And the pact maker, thusly.
Pact maker, as in the person, for lack of a better term, employer?
The other party. Employer is an incorrect word.
Yeah.
Explain to me how much you know of this deal. Alfred explained to you some elements of it, likely who it was made between.
We do know, sir, who it was made between with autonomous life form ratifying eternal 0034 625.
Did you have contact with him?
We did have contact with him, but he is quite slippery and mysterious. He was the one who put this anomaly in place with the time mischievousness.
Thus we come to the answer. I am not at liberty to divulge who it was Master Mordenkainen engaged in this deal, upon which this Alfred was set to be steward and protector of. But clearly, his actions have led to this anomaly, and one of the inevitables fallen. You find yourselves squarely in the midst.
Sir, may I ask a question for clarification? So the pact deal is not between you and Mordenkainen, let's say. It's over two people, and then is that how that works? It's not with the person in Mechanus and the Hall of Concordance. It's two people making a pact, and then that is solidified by you all?
The law of Mechanus, by my hand, forges the bond between the two. And I scribe upon these discs upon which an inevitable ensures the deal is carried out to the letter of the law.
Mm-hmm. And of course, respecting this person's privacy, that's where this whole mix-up takes place.
It would seem, however, if Master Mordenkainen yet lives, and thus the pact continues. Perhaps your purpose here extends beyond this singular moment of chivalry and return.
Perhaps it does.
A moment, if you will.
He rises fully from the desk and kind of strides around the room. And you can see this
Does he have
kind of
legs?
Yep. Like full humanoid, like
Gotcha.
arms, legs, the whole nine. Just made of like this kind of you can't quite see the legs because a robe kind of carries over it, but you do see like feet at the base, like metal boots. So you assume. Makes his way around the desk and over to the side. And keeping in mind, this is kind of like a glass box. You're standing with looks like no floor, looking down into where you just came from. It's this weird, like, vertigo element to this. But he makes his way over to this side of the room there's nothing there. And yet he reaches out, and as he kind of pulls like a cupboard opens, and you can see the interior of like shelving that was just invisible to you moments ago. He pulls forth what looks like a kind of an orrery that you've seen before, kind of a almost like a clockwork element of the planes or planets in the solar system. But this one you can see is far more intricate, and it doesn't seem to align with any celestial bodies. As he pulls it forward, it is kind of slowly kind of intertwining and interweaving. There's no immediate kind of base that everything is connected to. It's all just kind of floating in these kind of roiling discs, all kind of spinning around one another in this perpetual motion ball. As he kind of reaches out and taps a finger to it, it all snaps into one kind of all aligned disc, and then turns on its side and just all flattens out. And you can see there's like maybe 20 some odd, maybe 30 very thin discs. He reaches in again and kind of plucks something from inside of this like Rolodex of very, very small. You're not sure exactly, honestly. It's very difficult to see, like crystals or bottles or some elements. He grabs something. It's this little bead of silver, and he sets it in the middle of these discs. And as he taps the disc once more, they all kind of begin kind of spinning up around. And he stands back with a look to you all and says,
"Let's find our quarry together, and perhaps a bargain may be struck between us."
We're interested.
You watch as this kind of roiling motion ball begins spinning faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. After 10, 15, 30 seconds, you can no longer see the discs, just like perpetual motion, and this silver in the middle kind of spinning thousands of miles fast. For finally, there's this point where it almost like breaks, and it just illuminates this light. And you see what looks like almost like a blown out hologram version of very rudimentary maps of the planes that you've seen, the kind of great wheel cosmology you've seen, and you have a map of the cosmology in your possession. This is not unfamiliar to you, but it's almost in a globe-like stance. And it's kind of slowly shifting and moving. And it then kind of suddenly twitches very fast, suddenly very movements all around, and it pinpoints the heart. And it begins kind of exploding outwards and seeing faster and like plummeting faster through. And you can see it stops at this central image of this rising pillar and this ringed disc kind of spinning around. It looks like what you've been told the outward image of Sigil looks like from the plane of the Outlands. Collier kind of steps forward and taps, seemingly kind of touching the discs, even though they're still moving incredibly fast. And it kind of like, enhances and zooms again. And you watch as it it zooms in, and it's like a Rolodex of the city, like spinning from like inside at like fast forwarded. You can see like a time lapse of the city just kind of spinning and moving, people moving, and it slows and points and then speeds up again, slows and speeds and slows and speeds, and it seems to almost stop and then continue that cycle over and over and over again. And after about a minute or two of this, Call Your Root kind of taps it once more, and it all just stops. And the image fades, and he plucks the bead and sticks it back inside and closes everything away very matter-of-factly. And as he's in the midst of doing that, he explains to you.
You are not incorrect that our Mordenkainen is indeed slippery and even capable of shrouding himself from my eyes, my devices. Nonetheless, we have located, he is indeed in this city. And that is peculiar. I believe, based on my visions here, he's within the clerk's ward, refuge of some kind. Unfortunately, no more to say. But clearly he's been successful on his part of this bargain, of this deal. And yet he is still due to repay his end, of course, of which you are not privy. But it would seem he has no intentions of making that action done on his side. And your actions here, however, have displayed a quality all mortals do appear to share, that of intrigue and somewhat unknown interference in the grand order of things. That, and I deduce correctly, I believe, your desire for reward.
In truth, we are interested in getting back to our home. And perhaps something else of major importance, but continue.
Well, in this, I offer you a task with guaranteed payment upon completion, of which we can agree to here. Either a key or something of other significance, of which you may ask of me, and I will explain whether it is in my power or not to grant. But my ask be, return Mordenkainen to the hall before myself, where he will answer for his part in this impediment and find an agreeable end to his deal. In this, I would give you 48 hours. After such a time, a hunter squadron will retrieve him, and your part in this action and bargain will come to a close.
As for your ask,
good. Please. No, I was just going to try and talk to my friends here about what our ask could be, but
I will begin drawing up paperwork over here as you confer.
Thank you very much.
Makes way to the desk.
Turn back to the wildcards. Now we have two things we could ask this man. One, a key would be great. But two, there is someone's name we really want to know. And we were told that name could be held on Mechanus. Is that correct, DM?
It was one of the options. It was one of the possibilities.
We don't know where, and Mechanus probably doesn't like us a lot right now.
This man works for Mechanus.
No.
I don't want to go there. I want him to give us it. He doesn't work for Mechanus?
He would serve, like, not directly. He's like the embassy of law here in the city. And Mechanus is like the place of law. So there's a connection, but it's not like he's like he's not direct line to Primus or shit like that. Certainly authority of some kind.
But it seems like he has closer ties to here, where we also know something is, than
I see. So you're saying maybe his ass could be somehow talking to the lady?
I don't know. I don't know what to ask for.
Well, we could ask him for some feedback. Sorry, keep going.
I'm just wary of anything to do with going to Mechanus or drawing that attention to us in any way, considering what happened 2 days ago. It's a lot plus or minus 500 years. I don't know how that works.
Well, we could ask him for an in with the lady. Some sort of way we could have an audience with the lady, because we know she has ways out here, and our answer does lie with her.
What about just asking him to help us with the general?
That's another thing.
They're pretty powerful.
Or
they could.
what if, depending on what he's willing to grant us, if he has no problems with that, getting rid of our tail, our babysitters, the deal can be.
Level.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
I
understand, but if we can't get more, depending on what the agreement is, not having babysitters would also be pretty fucking great.
Let's set a tier. So we'll ask him for the most outrageous thing, which is help with the general. If that's not good, then we say an in with the lady. If that's not good, then we say the tail.
I think ladies.
My one concern in your prime suggestion there, Hondo, is that no one here who's related to the law seems to think that causing trouble there is a good idea.
But these guys may be different. It never hurts to ask.
They are about balance,
hurt us
though.
To ask a little bit. If we say something to like, I'll say it in Thieves' Cant just in case. If we say something like, I'm just gonna say it's in Thieves' Cant because I can't think of a clever way to do it. We want to cause a civil war. I think that might cause.
What did she just say? Sounded like gobbledygook.
That might not go over well with the robot cops.
They're not supposed to take sides, I thought.
We need to talk to the Lady of Pain. I think that's the one thing that we got to come out here from.
We also have to have something to offer her. If we don't have anything,
exactly.
Which is what you've been desperate to do. But you've been desperate to bring her the general's head. The Lady of Pain is in some sort of silent war with the general. There's some sort of thing where she can't go against him, yet she has put a lock on him leaving this place. So I really think she's not a big fan of his.
So let's say robots give us his head, and we will be on our way.
I don't think it's going to work like that, though. Like Mary said, these robots are going to be like, we're all about law and order. We're not going to upset the balance, but they could give us an invitation. But again, you can certainly ask, though. We can ask.
We go down, and then we go down.
I'm trying to think.
The top is lady.
Even like out of game, what could we ask for that is like halfway in terms of getting us more information or getting us to being able to do something with the general without overtly being that?
If we need help later on, I mean, that's just like such a tiny ask, but like, could you send a hunter squad with us to help with something later on would be like another ask. I have to go pee so bad, so y'all figure this out for 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Okay, so what are our options? Name our options. We have
the suggestion of, hey, go murder this top tier dude that no one else has been able to kill somehow and bring his head back to us. Like real big ask. And I'm a little concerned about asking it. We have, we wanted an audience with the big boss who no one has ever really seen and lived to tell the tale.
The lady.
We have, hey, can we not have babysitters anymore? And we don't really have anything in the middle. I think we could probably tack on the, hey, can we not have babysitters anymore to any of these deals? Might be worth asking no matter what. I'm trying to think, I don't know, God, what are our names? Roxanne or Milkshake, if you have any suggestions in terms of alternative paths to our goals that this robot gentleman might be able to help us out with.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree that if we can somehow lump the two together where it's like, no more babysitters with let's go talk to the lady, I think that would probably be our best option. It's just a way of finding how we're going to word that.
Right. And I don't disagree with Hondo in terms of we need something to offer if we get that main goal. I don't know if it's a, hey, look, we could probably do this thing for you, or hey, look, we already did this thing. I hope it's the thing you want.
How about this? I've been thinking about it silently for a couple minutes. What if we say, we seek an audience with the Lady of Pain? Now, in order to fulfill this task of bringing this man back here, we're going to need to lose our babysitters because they ain't going to be happy about that request, but we really want to help you out. Is that something you could accommodate?
But it doesn't solve the
Oh,
problem
right.
of we have nothing to offer. She won't do shit for us.
Yeah.
Listen, pal, we can't ask for the world here. We only got to get an invitation. We walk in the door and we find out what she wants. We have no idea what she wants.
We know what she wants. You go with something rather than you go with nothing.
What does she want? What, you think she knows what she wants? What does she want?
She wants the general.
All right, so we can give that to her, but these folks aren't going to help us out. They've just been running a business over here.
I think they could.
All right, well,
Do
let's
you
go
really
ask
think
them
we'd
then.
be able to offer the general to her though?
Oh, I think we might have to.
All right, let's ask for the general, and then
No. Ask
Let's
for. We're just gonna talk about some options here, but I
Okay.
think audience with the lady is the number one goal.
let's just say
If that can't be accomplished, this is tier 1. We need to get to tier 2 that can accomplish that. So if that's not within this being's power, okay, what would your best interpretation of how to get to the next step be? Not like asking him.
I would say, okay, that's a good idea. But then I would say,
That's what I mean.
talking to the governors, because we need to ask the governors a question. Governors being a step below, they're the rajas of the law. So talk to governor. It's like the next step to get to the lady.
Just going through my notes. I'm trying to see if there's anything else.
And then I would also ask for
This.
robot upgrades.
Let's say
Specifically, go on,
we-
Henry.
let's say we asked for the general, and they say yes. Is that a bad thing? No. Now let's say we ask for the general, and they say no. Then we say okay. Then we go on. Can you help us with this instead? It's a win-win situation. There's nothing bad to come out.
The only thing that
I
comes
know, but it
bad
just
if
sounds
they're
like-
like, "Hey, you're anarchists, so
We're just talking. I think they'll be all right.
murder you." I know, obviously we're not, but like the comes across as, "Hey, there's a shiny ass guillotine down there. Maybe we should just send you there instead because we like complete order, and this doesn't sound like it."
Why don't we ask him like Henry's saying, what's your relationship like with the general? Are you taking sides there? Is that something you could help us out with? Because we've heard he's a real nasty SOB.
Not only that, but his people fucking hate us, so we have a personal
Yeah,
stake in
and
this.
they're real jerks. They're real jerks.
I agree. Let's do that.
Okay, let's go ask him. You guys go with that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Coley Root.
You've reached some form of agreement amongst yourselves.
We've got a couple options on the table. We don't want to ask for too much here. We want to find something that suits both parties.
Understood.
First and foremost, we really want to help you out with this deal. Mordenkainen done some sort of trickery, and we don't like that. We're all about getting the balance right. That being said, we got some babysitters, the Mercy Killers, who've just been walking around with us. So if we were to help out, is that something you could take care of? This isn't the ask. It's just something that perhaps you could give us some sort of hall pass that would allow us to take care of something for you.
I may be able to provide a passage of free passage through the city for a period of time. However, I would not be absolving you of any sins.
Of course not.
Should you reacquire their attentions, that is on you.
Henry over here is curious about your relationship with the general and those Crimson Coin folk. We know there was a civil war recently. Have you in the hall been involved in that at all, taking sides, or is that something you're impartial to?
The Hall of Concordance takes no sides. We are impartial arbiters of law.
Henry thinks that works in our favor, because as masters of law, then would you be willing to help out if something needed to come to a head?
If the deal is fair and agreed upon and in the letter of the law,
And how about one more possibility? Do you think it is within your power, sir, to get us an audience with the Lady of Pain?
an audience of the 5 of you in exchange for return of Mordenkainen to these halls.
Just a possibility.
Just as a possibility, is that something you could do?
That can be arranged. arranged.
All right.
Just one more thing. If we wanted to present the the lady with the general, could you help us achieve that?
Every time Kevin breaks with his own
His own ludicrousness.
Did you wish in exchange for this act to then be granted the opportunity to put a bounty upon his head, and the additional payment upon which that bounty will be made? I will allow you that opportunity in exchange.
So
The-
okay.
A bounty being
1,000
placed
gold.
comes at
Great cost to mortal life.
2,000 gold.
perhaps steeper than that.
That's all Kevin has in his pocket.
4,000.
Perhaps steeper, I'm thinking. I think an audience is our best bet here. That's what we came to this place to do.
Ideally, as well, if this is going to be written, not in terms of, hey, look, here's Mordenkainen, you get audience right now. Just at some point, there may be other preparations before said audience that might be needed on our end. Just want to make that clear.
Say that again?
Basically, I'm just saying, don't be like, oh, here's Mordenkainen, cool, go see her right the fuck now. Just like the idea of,
I see.
we might need to prepare before said audience, so just want to make sure that's
Your audience,
On the table.
your audience with the Lady of Pain will be set by the Lady of Pain, not by myself. I will only be transferring between, in agreement with her.
All right.
So whatever it is she dictates would be the date.
That's our best option right now, folks. We need to talk to her.
Is this your final say?
Milkshake, Roxanne, Sarah, Henry.
can't
I
think of
guess
anything
so.
else.
We might as well.
Forgot about Ali's accent.
Then-
Sir, then that is our offer, yes.
Then in exchange for returning Mordenkainen to these halls to face his repayment and regain order to this anomaly, I, the Concordant Collyroot, Arbiter of Law of the Hall of Concordance, grant you 48 hours to complete this task, upon which time a meeting with the Lady of Pain of the City of Doors shall be arranged. And in addition, in immediate status, free pass from the watchful eye of the Mercy Killers until such a time as you regain their ire of your own volition.
We find these terms agreeable.
Then the deal is done.
TikTok.
Indeed. 48 hours from noon, beginning today.
Right.
Best of luck.
If we have to drag this man in, do you want us to come in the front door, or is there a better entrance to avoid any public scrutiny?
Should you find it necessary, whatever means by your own.
Okay. All right, sir. Pleasure to meet you. Maybe Duo could show us out.
Indeed. Good day.
He sits back and immediately just goes back to doing what he's doing. And Duo leaves the disc there on the desk and then begins leading you out.
Yeah, I just look at it forlornly and then realize this is part of it and keep going.
You are led out, and unless there's any other things you want to complete inside here, you're led out through the front doors and back out into the kind of sunny atmosphere of the courtyard beyond.
That was terrifying.
Hey, Kendra. Sorry, what was that, sir?
I said it was terrifying.
Yeah, actually, I liked him a lot. He was better than Primus. Primus was
Let's not.
hard to deal with.
As you guys return to Kendra, you can see she is like holding like a mug in one hand, sitting at this table in the middle of the courtyard, and in the other, you can see this small slip that she's kind of reading with a quizzical look. As you guys make your way up, she looks at you and says, "How in the fuck did you do that?"
That's kind of rude. Weren't we all going to get coffee together?
Well, no, I've been out here for an hour and a half, and you just walked out here, so I'm finishing. But my second cup, and she kind of flips around.
Your second cup?
In this like long series of legal jargon, she looks at you and says, "The Mercy Killers have relieved you from your house arrest and any further watchful eye until such a time as you do something stupid."
Oh, well, we appreciate that.
No. How did you do that? What did you do in there?
Well, we returned something like we told you that belonged to them, and they were very appreciative of that. So
apparently,
they felt like we didn't deserve to be on house arrest. We were just doing the right thing last night.
That's not at all what they said.
It kind of feels that way with that little slip of paper.
No. What it feels like is you made some kind of deal in there, because that's what they do in there is make deals.
Kendra, I admit I'm upset. I really thought you would have coffees ready for us if you would have got coffees yourself.
We'll just go get it. Where's the coffee stand?
There's like 3. We're in a courtyard with patios. It's not hard.
I know.
I didn't know how long you were going to be.
This morning, I had coffee ready for you. It's just
you were in a tavern that had coffee at the ready. It was not that hard.
You just said there's 3 little places around this market.
How am I supposed to know when you're going to be done? It's been an hour and a half. I've been waiting here on my own.
Andrew, I tell you what. Why don't you bring us coffee back later tonight? If you want to swing by Dane's place, we can have a nice dinner. But we have things to do, so we're going to scoot.
I probably won't do that, but I will be keeping an eye on my own. Thanks.
Your own coffee?
Sure. She kind of just stands and says, "Keep out of trouble. I don't know how you did this, but I don't want to run into you in the wrong way."
Well, we appreciate that.
Okay. Weird.
All right, see you soon. Have a great rest of your day.
She just kind of gets up slowly and just starts making her way back the way you guys came.
You were so close to getting her to not despise you. You were so close. And
I
then
promised her coffee.
You get half a second
she says,
to the finish line.
Let's all go later.
Face plant.
No,
so
I am pissed.
Hard.
I don't
likability.
give a fuck. She said we would have coffee later. And she said
she also now
had
said
the audacity to say she's on her second cup.
Did you smell the coffee? It smelled terrible. I mean, my piss would probably taste better. Here, you want some piss? I'll give you a piss.
I highly doubt
Listen,
that.
for the second time in like 2 weeks, I do not want to drink your piss from anything, Henry. My God.
I forgot
We have
that
shit to do.
happened.
And TikTok, Mr. Henry, we got to get going. Let's find our way to the clerk ward.
Also, now we're just informed that we're probably going to have a tail who is doing shit on her own duty. So keep an eye out for that. Or off duty.
Fucking
off
bring
duty.
it out. Come on. Go for it.
Right.
So rude. So
I was
rude.
going to ask her about those weird floaty dudes.
At least we know her
Maybe
favorite color is
Doc
maroon.
knows. Sorry, Kyle. You said it's like lunchtime-ish?
It was 12 o'clock when you left the office. Shortly
Are
thereafter.
we just
Means it
gonna
starts.
go find our quarry right now?
Yep.
Or at least
Yeah,
figure
so-
out where the... Okay.
So we got to go to Mordo, find Mordo in the city. He's in the clerk ward. He's somewhere where he's taking refuge and he's like kind of able to hide from the scrown ability. Then we have to somehow incapacitate him so that we could bring him back here. This being the slipperiest wizard in maybe existence. And we have to do that without causing too much of a scene when the mercy killers come down on us. But then we got to bring him all the way back here. So
we're pretty sure that this is the clone body, right?
yes.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Just making sure that everyone else put that together too.
we do have this, and I'll pull out the Wayfinder Sphere. which will
Right,
come
and
in
you got a
mighty handy.
vial of weird goop that might be able to.
But I know
maybe-
him too, yeah.
Right. But isn't it like if you have something that is like from that person or part of them that helps? Stick it in the.
That might help. Hondo, do you have any so what are our options here in
You
terms
did
of
it
incapacitating
again,
something?
immediately.
What did I do?
Just
Henry.
Henry.
Son of a bitch. Well, Kenner's not around anymore. Henry, do you have some sort of way to incapacitate someone that isn't just stabbing them to death? Any new options?
Yeah, we can hit them over the head and knock them out. We can come from behind and cover their mouth and then drag them to a corner and tie them up.
Type the greatest wizard alive.
I'm told on the street there is this chemical that when inhaled, it knocks them out temporarily. We can do that.
Do you have any?
Here is my thoughts. He don't know. I mean, he might. He's super clever. He's the smartest person alive. But he doesn't know necessarily that we're doing this for the hall. We do know he tried to do the slip on us, and he tried to, successfully. He got Roxanne and I little mind wipe. But we could just be tracking him down and saying, hey, how the fuck do we get out of here? We know you're here. We know you tried to give us a slip, but help us out. We're trying to get out of here. We got your staff. And when he's like, oh, okay, give me my staff. Then we go, bam, right in the back of the head, and then we bring him back here.
We could also keep in mind that we don't know anything about how this second body process works. He might not be all there.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm really hoping that case. I also feel really weird about turning him in.
Why? This is a man who is skipping on his deals.
Yeah, we haven't tried to do that shit in the past.
Every deal we've managed to successfully do. Sure, we've tried, but listen, the bell tolls just the same.
It's a giant, great. Yeah, sure.
We could ask him, once we incapacitate him, we could say, listen, this is our deal. They're going to get us an audience with Lady of Pain. You can do one better. By all means, we'll give you a head start on these hunters that are coming after you. It's not like our souls get vanished.
All I'm saying is let's at least try to talk to him if it is him, which I'm not entirely convinced it'll be all him there, but
what we can't do,
at the very least, let's get an eye on where the fuck that is that we're supposed to be dealing with.
It's in the clerk ward. So let's start walking towards the clerk ward. I think that's a good idea.
Do we know where that is?
I'll ask this kind man right over here.
Make your way over to one of the
coffee stands.
And there's just this kind of tiefling figure, kind of bluish skin, long black hair, looks at you, says, "Can I help you?"
Hey, how are you?
I'm not so bad.
Would love 5 coffees from my friends here.
Five.
And also,
my lucky day.
Could you point us in the direction of the clerk ward?
Well, it's kind of only one direction, friend. Left or right. It's a big ring.
All right. Well, which one's the faster one, left or right?
Well, you're probably going to want to go. I guess you're going to want to go left here. To the right is the lower ward in the hive. You look a little too nicely clothed for both of those places. I'd recommend going the right. It's a little bit longer, but
all right, we'll go right.
That'll be 5 silver.
Not a problem here. Here's 1 gold, sir. We really appreciate your help.
Wow. Thank you.
1 gold coming right up.
I hope. Well, for the gold, it's a little ways to the clerk's ward. You won't make it there by sundown.
Oh, really, Sapphire?
Well, yeah, it's about 4 or 5 hours.
Son of a bitch. Is there a faster way to travel here, or is it all just foot travel?
No, that's kind of part of the charm and part of the punishment. All on.
Can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Oh, sorry, Sarah, you go for it.
Kyle, I was just going to ask, what direction did we come from?
You came from the left. So you came from Market to Ladies. So you'd be going Ladies, Market, Guildhall, clerks.
Is Guildhall where Doc's from?
Guildhall is where you guys came into the coffee shop. Dock is in the lower.
Okay.
It's where the foundry is.
Ladies Market, Guildhall, Clerks, then
Guildhall's where the content
lower
cup
than
is.
Hive.
Flip those. Hive, then lower. So
Hive,
if you
then
went
lower.
from ladies, you'd go, if you went right, you'd go into the lower. Lower and the hive seem to take up a pretty big chunk.
But so in theory, if we kind of start going back around, we could end up where we stayed overnight at bedtime, keep going that way in the morning, and get to where we are going to go, and that timing would probably work out.
You'll get back to Second Chances in 3 hours. So like it'd be 3 in the afternoon. Like you'd still have a full day ahead of you. However, if you were to continue through the rest of the market to the Guildhall to the Clerks, you're looking late into the day.
And going the other direction would probably still take roughly the same amount of time because we're kind of on the opposite ends of the ring.
You're on opposite end of the ring and you're not sure what to encounter there. You've heard it's not great, and at least one word is entirely in the general's control.
Yeah, it would be terrible for us. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah.
That it is basically across from where we are right now.
You're almost on the opposite ends of the city.
So our options are, is there anything else that we can do this afternoon, or... Okay, I understand.
Yeah,
Sir, can
you
I
could
ask you
get there.
one more question?
Sure.
What if someone took to the skies, if they had that ability and kind of flew around here? Would that be something that's really frowned upon?
Well, sure. It's not uncommon necessarily, but you get a lot of attention, and realistically, the Devas will probably come for you, and that's just creepy.
The Devas, hey, that does not sound good.
No, they get in your head, and if you're flying, they might put you down to the ground. It's also you can't quite fly across the city. You can just kind of keep going around the ring.
Hmm.
That wouldn't happen to
be
be those characters travel in twos, kind of floaty, or is that something different?
Yeah, that's them. The kind of, it's a little rude, but the little kind of alien looking, always in twos. They don't
Obviously,
speak. They're creepy.
We want to avoid them. Any other information you have about these guys? Because we did pass them, and they seemed to stare into your soul, and it was very disturbing.
Yeah, they're not so they're not so villainous, but they are unsettling. They're basically they're basically the ladies' men.
Yeah.
They're hers, but they just don't have the same approach or tact as civilized folk.
We have a
What kind
ladies'
of
man too, isn't that right? Henry?
He
No
kinda
reaction.
looks,
All right, keep going.
looks you up and down, and Hanno's just staring off at something.
What kind of work do they? Now I'm just curious. They're like her guard, spies, just informants.
A little bit of everything. They do. They've got. I've seen them do it before. It's kind of cool. Honestly, it's actually kind of cool, but it's a little freaky. They've got the mind powers, and they reshape entire sections of city. If something happens to a building, they're the ones who come and fix it, and they remake it in whatever image they want. Whole sections of city have completely transformed by their minds. It's kind of cool, but it's also like, what else can they do?
I think we've heard people talk about them, right, Kyle?
Mm-hmm.
Some
Little
about how they were
bits and
saying
pieces.
like something had to get like fixed in the morning, so they were gonna. Gotcha.
Well, sir, this coffee's delicious, and we really appreciate all the information. I'll slide him 1 more gold.
He just kind of quickly slides it and gives you a nod and says, "My car is open to you anytime. Thanks."
Not a problem. We're the wrong crowd. And again, we really appreciate your caffeine.
It's a peculiar name.
We're a peculiar group.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, have a good day.
All right, take care. Oh man, 5 hours is gonna be a fucking long ass walk.
So are you guys making your way back to Second Chances or back to the Market Ward, or are you going to try and make it all the way to the Clerks?
I think the concern is, wasn't it that we're not supposed to, was it we specifically were not supposed to be out after dark because we were in like lockdown, or was it that generally people are not supposed to be out in the evening?
No, I think the lockdown and house arrest was more that you saw people like when you guys were in the fight in the market. The market was like full of people. They just cleared the fuck out once the fight started.
So the question is, if something happens, which I really hope it doesn't, and some kind of shit goes down, are we going to be really fucking tired? Because then it's another 5 hours all the way the back fuck here if we get who we're looking for.
Well, we could walk to Second Chances. Talk about resting, then get an early start to the day, and then head out tomorrow morning.
Is there anything else we want to accomplish this afternoon?
Oh, we are meeting with our friend later tonight, I think.
Are we?
Let me check. When are we meeting? I was told Horace was going to do some research for us, and then he was going to swing by and he wanted to talk to Henry too, I think.
Okay.
Father-son stuff.
Is there anything else we need to accomplish, guys? Wasn't there was like, we talked about doing some extra shopping. Now I'm just talking out of game. We talked about potentially buying other stuff. Kevin, I think you were saying that there was something you were going to look at, not necessarily the black powder stuff. You were saying there was something else with like we looked at originally. The whole, there were those two like giant forge people.
Yeah, you guys had stopped in at the Whistling Giants, and there was options to like get some runes implanted on armor or buy armor with runes on it. There was the Maiden of Joaquin, who had a bunch of assorted items.
And she had different stuff every day, right?
Presumably. I mean, it's a trading kind of city. You can very easily find out like what's new, kind of now that you've had an established relationship in a moment inside, spent some good coin, like established the beginnings of a relationship. And there's still plenty of other places you guys have yet to venture to in terms of shopping, but we don't want to spend each and every one of these games shopping.
Exactly. No, for sure. I was just, that could be like an out of game. I go run, pick the thing up if anyone had anything specific they wanted to get. Just
exactly. Like if you want to try and get into more specifics, less of like, I want to go browsing and Kyle, tell me all the random shit you can think of. Like if you have more of a specific idea, we can go through the roles of like trying to seek that out and how that works, yada, yada, yada. Hondo had expressed some, sorry, Scott. Hondo had expressed some interest in wanting to buy or create some explosives. And that was less of like, that was kind of out of game. I did mention that, Horace and like the anarchists, and I think there was a conversation between Valentine and Horace that was like, yeah, they can work on some of that. He's got some interesting friends that he could like lead you to, and that could be done through them. But that would be a whole role play thing because explosives are a whole other bag.
I will talk to Horace for sure. I think he can hook us up.
Okay.
I would love to keep an eye out for the two giants mentioned the potential of elven blacksmiths being able to alter Ethereus. So if there are any elven blacksmiths around here, keep an eye out.
Sure. You can make an investigation check as you guys are making your way back. But while you're doing that, what is the plan to head back to Second Chances now and just kind of wait the rest of this day out?
That's probably a good idea. What do
you
guys
think? If there's anyone else we need to talk to who we already spoke with yesterday to try to get any more information, even if it's just casually trying to get more information about the city. Can you remind me, I didn't actually get it written down, Kyle, in that newspaper, what was the thing the Ivory House said? You said something about the Ivory House?
The Ivory House had a kind of a line in the middle called that said, keep your options open. Nobody's got the key to the truth. And it was kind of attributed to the Ivory House.
And then there also was, which was interesting.
Yeah, I think I missed the first thing.
Oh, the one with the ladies' domain, where it was like...
Ladies' domain, question mark, a call to action? Yeah, Barl, you say it.
Yeah, call to action or cruel reminder.
That was the on picture the headline and kind of caption beneath the picture of, at least seemed a
political cartoon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So with my interpretation, that would be the lady's domain question mark, insinuating like, does this still belong to her, or is the general taken over? Call to action or a cruel reminder, whether that would be a call to action like let's rise up because we know there is talk about a resistance, or a cruel reminder being everything is like chaos here, we're on the verge of civil war once more. That's maybe my take on it. And then it's interesting, the one about the key, keep your options open, no one has the keys to the truth. That makes me think maybe they're running out of the ivory tower or the ivory house. Maybe some black market ways out of the cage. Could be something like that, some sort of signal like, hey, if you want a key out of here. Or it could just be more like resistance talk.
I'm wondering if even just spending a little bit of time in the bar, eavesdropping, hearing general,
getting a plan in
if there's
place.
any other information, lay of the land stuff we can try to get. Of obviously we made a bit of a splash last night, what the rumors are saying, who knows? The more
I can also
information
fly
we can
around the
gather, the
city a
better.
bit. I could like fly around the city a bit. Be some sort of like masked adventurer, crusader, kind of like build up the like rumor mill.
You want the weird floaty purple alien things to come, like,
That's why I just like a little bit, kind of like a dark Avenger, just like watching,
just stirring the pot.
Well, it's not like the hero,
bright lights all around him and flowers.
It's
coming
not
out
like
of
the
him.
hero the city needs, but it's like the hero the city gets, or maybe it's wants, but it's not the needs one. It's something like that. I'm working on my branding.
You do that. You a big
we could like
fancy
Henry
cake.
could hit up the whorehouse later on. It's in the Grand Bazaar if he wants to go.
Admittedly, I think you did say this, Henry. Last time you went to a place like this, it's a great place to catch rumors.
Great info.
It
He
really
did spend
is.
copious amounts of coin, which seemed too much, but
Well, I say maybe Martin should come along with me and get some info.
no thank you. I'm a taken man, sir. I do not
I mean,
fool around with that
admittedly,
kind of stuff.
it's a bathhouse. You can just have a bath. That's.
Yeah, exactly. You just have a bath, and if you want more, you can get more.
But also, you can literally just have a bath. There's a lot of these.
I don't know if it's this kind of establishment where you could just have a bath.
Well, let's find out.
It's on the way, isn't it?
Would it be on the way, Kyle?
It's in the market ward somewhere. So
Yeah.
it's in the ward that you're going to.
Let's
That's
walk towards it.
certainly
If we just try to even separate ourselves in a couple different places, pretending to window shop, trying to eat a long meal, go in places like that, public places, and just try to eavesdrop on public conversations, see if there's any chatter, and then of course Horace is going to be a good source of that as well. If we have nothing else to do this afternoon, at least we can information gather.
As we work our way back, in point of contact or point of order, Horace was like investigating what maybe the general wants, what he's doing, and why they were after that like mineral
Stuff
or metal that they mentioned.
Yeah, that's
accurate.
Arcurate.
Arcurate. Yeah, let's do that. Let's start making our way back. And we can have little various things.
There's no.
I rolled 27, by the way, on that investigation.
For the walk from this district to the next, you don't see any sign of elven smiths, and realistically, you don't see sign of a whole lot of further like weapon and smithing in general. It seems like so far the giants, the Whistling Giants, has been the only place that has a full-on smithy in this area. Anyways, you see plenty of places that are selling items and selling weapons and armor, but nothing to the element that you would require for this case, unfortunately. But a couple hours pass. You guys make your way again through the city, and again, it's a weird yet kind of like exhilarating and fun experience. Just being in the city, the excitement, the energy of the city is interesting. And thankfully on your return home, as you regain into the kind of middle of the Grand Bazaar, you recognize the second chance is not far off there. You do not see any sign of crimson coin. You see no sign of Mercy Killer's tail, and you have yet to have any further encounters with the Daybus. But you return, we'll say, in the kind of the middle of the bazaar. Second Chances is right there, other shops and things. And you did not see on this walk any ivory house or something that would resemble a bathhouse. So you can continue on from there to see what you want to see. And we'll put it at around 3 o'clock. And you recall almost that like light switch from day to night happened like a light switch at almost around 5 o'clock on the dot. So you know you've got about 2 hours left of daylight, but you know, similar to New York, it's not like the city shuts down as night falls.
Henry, you might want to make our way to this bathhouse you've been itching to get towards.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Yeah, let's go find it.
is everyone going to this, or is it just the two of you?
I say everyone can do it. Everyone can have a bath.
Well, I'm thinking if I'm intending potentially to slightly split up here, just in terms of covering more ground, different public places was my pitch.
We could get a group rate.
I feel good about going with
Baths?
Henry to make sure he doesn't get into too much trouble.
Okay,
But if you guys want to split up, that's cool.
Mary, where are you headed? You wanted to just kind of sit at Second Chances and listen for chatter? Or just out and about?
Potentially, yeah, I'm just trying to think of like other, honestly, maybe just out in, you said there was an area that where, you know, everything went down kind of outside of there. That's just a lot of like stalls and it's like a busy space. In the market, like in the market ward, right?
In the market ward, there's a whole Grand Bazaar that is just like this kind of open area. Yeah, there's this fountain in the middle of this section, and then just stalls and carts and all these things. And there's kind of a couple of sections of this similar kind of setup. So there's multiple options here. Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking, yeah, if I can get, I just want to walk through where, you know, where the Grand Bazaar is. In my experience, vendors and, you know, other regulars really like to gossip. So hoping that potentially I pick things up, and especially considering that's where a bunch of shit went down the other day, there's probably going to be talk of anything.
Okay. Then where are Brawley and Milkshake here going?
I can accompany someone anywhere if you need to. The bathhouse does sound quite interesting, but I can go where needed.
I'll go
Up to you.
to the bathhouse.
Okay.
I was hoping he would say that.
All right,
So-
group bath.
Gord, Hondo, and Val to the bathhouse, and Brawley, are you going bathhouse with them, or are you sticking with Mary and just kind of doing ears out?
Yeah, if she's alone, then I'll join her.
Okay. Then we will begin with the boys in the bath. As you guys, I think it makes sense here for Hondo to lead the investigation for this place with advantage from your fellows. So Hondo, throw investigation check with advantage for me.
We already had an episode where all three of the girls spent the whole day at the spa. Now it's the boys' turn.
Oof.
Oh,
Natural 20 on it.
And
Yeah. I mean, you don't need it. It's like a million. With your investigation, was it 30?
13.
33.
Yeah.
You guys begin to split off from the group in this the Grand Bazaar, and you've kind of been going like the city for the most part, almost just like I say, it's kind of a continuous ring, and for the most part, you can kind of follow one main road through the majority of it. One road will link to everything, but you can see plenty of different offshoots, little roads, little alleys, little back alleys, and there's more on the next row over and the next, and the city continues to widen. So with Hondo's keen eyes and ears, you begin to make your way kind of north from the bazaar rather than east and west. And just walking through the city streets and just seeing the sights and seeing lots of different figures and people. And there's just this kind of like, just this open like music that you begin to kind of tune into and follow. And you can kind of hear just kind of like a, you know, not a raucous concert nor something soft and contemplative, but just just like constantly active music, this kind of just like vibe, just like you're just kind of following it along. It's just kind of drawing you inwards, almost like a siren song. And you begin making your way following this sound. And indeed, you do come into this kind of small, in between this arched area. You can see 3 arches into this small courtyard. And in the center, you can see this single tree. And it's few and far between that you see any kind of foliage. This is kind of the outside of the ladies' ward. The ladies' ward had a couple of different gardens and things, but in the market ward, there's very, very little. And you can kind of see this single tree in the front. And it's like an apple tree, and each of the apples are all very lush and red looking. But between these 3 arches of kind of like white stone, you do see a very ivory looking house that kind of rises up, and it's kind of the classic like Greek or Roman columns that lead into an open air, like not Colosseum, but like a Roman style building. And from it, you can see lots of people just kind of milling about. You can see them steam rising from various open pools and baths as maybe 20, 30 people inside, and you can see another kind of building kind of goes off of that and then branches off left and right. And it seems to be kind of like this little maze of buildings, all in this same ivory style. It seems to imply you've made your way to the ivory house. You make your way closer and closer, unless you want to stop yourselves. You begin climbing the stairs into the kind of open first front section of these massive columns. And you can see right along the floor, there's like a main walkway that would lead further into other buildings and other structures interior that are closed off, but still open, big, large windows, but not quite this open air Roman style. But in the floor, you can see there are 4 baths set in a row, so 8 total. So 2 rows of 4, and 6 of them currently are full of people. Like you can see, one has just 2 people in it, one has 6, another there's a kind of a small group of about 4 people who are kind of flailing over one another in a very lustful romance. It's kind of shocking out in the open.
All right. Oh, geez.
They're just doing their thing. But in one immediately to your right, it's there's one figure who's sitting alone, and he's kind of arms up on the back edge, furthest to the right, but it's the first one on the right. You can see this red skin and blue flame hair, this kind of very lazy flame, and you can see it's just kind of faintly smoking, and from the water itself you can see like there's faint bubbles all around him where the heat is just kind of exuding into the water itself of this fire genasi figure very clearly. He's naked and in the water, and just like reaches over to a goblet as you kind of make your way up, and this kind of gold looking goblet of some kind of liquor or wine. You can see the kind of stubble across the face, but well kept. All the lines are very trim, very neat. And there's a little bit more to the mustache than elsewhere. And he just kind of looks you with a wry smile. Sees, you 3 are new here.
Yes, we certainly are. Beautiful place. Do you run this establishment?
Oh, nobody runs the establishment. It's open to anybody, to all. Would you care to join me?
Sure. I mean, we'd love a bath. We'd love to relax and get some nice conversation going.
Well, the water is warm and warmest with me, of course. And he just kind of like, you see the fire on his head just kind of flare ever so lightly, and the water just begins to kind of bubble jacuzzi style.
Oh.
And he kind of raises his glass and says, "My name is Ignacio. A pleasure to meet you."
Wonderful to make your acquaintance. My name is Marty, and this is my friend Henry the Blue, and then this fine-looking fellow, his name is Milkshake.
Marty, Henry, Milkshake. A pleasure. Please, join. You all begin to disrobe and join.
I think I will.
Cannonball.
Yeah, I guess
it's a
so.
small bath. It's not like
I was gonna say.
an Olympic pool here, but you can still do it.
It's a hot tub.
Hondo leaps into the hot tub as Val.
I
and
put my
Bru-
stuff just on the side, and then I dip my feet in, just kind of don't want to take off all my shit.
He's just kind of still just lounging and just watching and laughs as Hondo jumps in and says, quite the spirit on this one.
It's one way of putting it.
Don't worry, this one will loosen up in a bit.
They always
God.
do.
Ignacio, the independents work out of here. We saw some of the cager this morning, and they said something about this place.
Indeed, I count myself as one of them.
Oh, wonderful. We quite like the cager. It was interesting.
Well, I haven't written for the cager in some time, but it is a interesting piece of literature, don't you think? It's chaos, on the page.
Mhm.
Very evocative. I've always thought.
Yeah, some print layout classes might help it pop a bit more using negative space, but I thought it was quite evocative. Yeah, it was quite nice.
Yeah, I like to think of it as your eye carries you around the page, so it interests you most, not being told where to go, just letting the words carry you, letting the imagery speak for itself.
Did you read this morning's issue?
I have not had the time, no, unfortunately. I was busy in the markets, and then, I lost track of time here with some wine and such lovely views.
Mhm. They
Anything
mentioned
interesting?
something. Oh, two things were interesting. One, they had mentioned big front and center in it. It said, "Keep your options open. No one has the keys to the truth." The Ivory Tower.
Yes, of course. A little slogan, yes.
For the independents?
Indeed, something to intrigue and begin to poke and prod the thought. What did it make you think of?
Well, it just made me wonder more about what is the truth. What is the truth of this place? What are they hinting at? Because my friend Henry here, he loves to get to the bottom of things. He likes to just take off all the layers and see something bare as it is. Bare as the day it was born. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We can see indeed. So, Henry, what does that line mean to you? What did you take from it?
The layers?
No, the slogan, the keep your options open. Nobody's got the key to the truth. What does it mean to you? What is the truth to you?
It's how I live my life. I never commit to anything, and I change my mind quite often.
Change, exactly, yes. Everything should be free form, flowing. You should never be constrained to one thing, one person, one moment. I like this. I like you.
You would certainly like Henry. I feel like he's your type of man.
Would you care for some wine?
Henry?
I think we all need some wine here. Loosen us up here.
Of course. And he kind of does a little gesture, and you watch as this wine bottle slowly kind of just floats in the air, but it's kind of popping and hopping like this. And as it gets closer, the wine is set down and it begins being poured. And you can see there's a figure, a very small, foot by foot figure of what looks like air, kind of holding it aloft. You can see little flapping wings. It's nearly invisible, but you can just make out the shifting form of something. And another, he kind of gestures, and you watch as a creature of ice with these tiny little wings, and this kind of almost impish-like creature, but pure ice, with a bottle and two goblets, kind of hops over and gestures, one to Hondo, one to Milkshake if Milkshake takes it. and begins kind of pouring wine into both. As the this kind of invisible air-like one scoops out another goblet and makes its way over to you, Valentine, and begins kind of pouring wine for the three of you. This like rich red wine, before both can kind of put the bottles on the side of the pool of water, and they begin kind of just shifting away out of sight. He said, thank you, dears. Please, enjoy.
Cheers. Thank you for having us.
Well, it's not my place. It is open, as they say, to any and all. I just like the look of your figures, the cut of your jib, as it were. Just struck me as intriguing.
Appreciate it. Ignatio, speaking the truth and getting down to it, what do you make of circumstances in the cage lately with all this talk of the general taking up so much land, trying to move against the lady?
General lately, nothing of intrigue from their camp, so to speak. Business as usual for the last 5-10 years. More of the same.
You have any strong feelings either way about either of them?
Well, as most, perhaps not quite so vocally, but of course they're villains of the darkest kind. They take what they want but give nothing back.
Does the general ever visit? Is he one to partake?
I've never seen him myself, nor do I hope to, in truth. I've only heard the stories of his might, let's say. Had a couple of scrapes with his men, the coin, but nothing I couldn't handle, and nothing that a couple of shared goblets of wine and some clever words couldn't get us out of.
I'll tell you, if they ever come back here and start some trouble, you just let us know, because we are certainly not fans of them.
I will indeed do that if you intend to stick around.
We usually stay over at Old Vidane's. You just ask for the wrong crowd and we'll come post haste.
Second chances, yes, I remember those days. He's a good minotaur, that one.
Just great human, great man, great person.
Indeed.
Great bull creature, man.
It's okay. He's not here.
Well, yeah. Henry, did you want anything more from this visit?
While we're here, do you have any fair maidens that could,
oh, Lord.
scratch my back?
Oh, God.
That was heavily laden with some
Subcase.
ulterior meaning. If you make your way inside, I'm sure there's someone who can see to that itch, should you be so inclined. Or anyone of the personal preference. If that is all you have come here for, then please.
I just want to ask Val discreetly, should we ask him about more than kind?
No, I don't think we should ask him about our friend Mr. M.
Okay.
He looks to Milkshake and to Val, and between the two of you, and says, do you have the same tastes as Master Henry?
I would say no one has the same taste as Mr. Henry, that is for certain. And no, I'm quite all right, thank you very much. Actually, Milkshake might have the same taste as Mr. Henry. They ran together for a bit, so he certainly might want to shake it up.
I certainly do.
Intriguing. Well, I believe you shall be testing our
Nope, don't lack this.
Our lack of bias and our hopeful of acceptance of interesting figures who enter our humble abodes. I wish you both the best of luck in your pursuits. I hope you come back to visit again. You've been very intriguing.
Just have a flashback to pre-stream when Henry and Milkshake met an old woman, and both of them spent one raucous evening with her, much to the horror of the rest of the party. Good times.
Val, as these two, if you guys are going to begin making your way inside, Val, what are you doing?
I think I'll just keep chilling here.
Ignacio remains in the buoy, makes no gesture to be leaving or making his way up and out.
Ignacio, do you know who happens to? Did they rat the cager out of this place? Like, if you wanted to find the authors,
it's in the clerk's ward, if I remember correctly. It's the daily, the Independent Daily is the name. One of ours, of course, who's the editor-in-chief. He's an interesting figure. He's tall, strapping, handsome man. If I recall correctly, blue skin, blue something. The name's Cerulean.
Sounds like a cool fellow.
Indeed, he is. I remember him fondly, but not much more known, unfortunately. Tell me of yourself. What is it you seek in this here bathhouse and city beyond?
We came here a little by accident, which sounds very naive, but we were on a couple quests back on our own material plane, and wound up here, and now we're just trying to, get a lay of the land, see how we could get on out of here.
Intriguing. Drawn by purpose unknown to this city.
Yeah. We were talking to Doc, and he was talking a bit about the source, a bit about how things are connected, and we certainly all feel connected in that we're on a course to try and, do good in this world.
Well, should you find yourselves in the market ward, perhaps make your way to my tent. I have several items of intrigue that may intrigue you.
Oh, really?
I think, given your wanderlust, this kind of adventurous soul I can read within you.
Yeah.
I have something of a bit of a touch for understanding the auras of people I come across, and I have a selection of odd trinkets and items I've come across in my days that I often find ways to marry them to those who I meet. And they often
That sounds very, very neat.
connect quite well. It's very easy to spot me in amongst the crowd, so should you see me, please come along.
That sounds great. If you needed help finding places or finding people, is there anyone you would go to around here to help with that?
It's the kind of people or places you're in the search for. If you're looking for general guides and tours around the place, then you can certainly find couriers, and you can certainly find guides of all sorts, representatives from the various guilds and factions. I know my way around the city myself. If you're looking to perhaps employ my services, I would be more than happy to guide you about the city.
Oh, we appreciate that. Maybe if we swing by your tent tomorrow, we might take you up on that offer.
I'd be more than happy.
I know it sounds crazy, but part of me does want to get a glance at the lady at some point. Just heard so much about her. You ever seen her?
The lady.
The Lady of Pain, the LOP.
I've seen her. I've seen her once in my time here. She cuts a very decided path. Everyone falls away. She strides. There's nothing within the eyes. There are voids of darkness. And yet such passion and charisma exudes off of her. Such dominance. It's intoxicating to be so close to it. You're almost immediately enthralled in her presence and forced to grovel, and yet she forces you back to your feet. Now, I've seen and heard the stories of her temper, but in my experience, she was just something mythical.
We just found it so strange just getting all the rumors straight. How the general just showed up here and can't leave now, but she's kind of let him, take so many different wards. It's just so peculiar.
Indeed, a power struggle of beings beyond mortal comprehension.
Yeah.
Of course, we, as mortals, cannot comprehend.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, Milkshake and Henry are probably going to be another couple hours because their sexual appetite is...
In truth, they may
Quite.
never leave again.
That's not out of the realm of possibility.
I think it is my time to depart. Before
Okay.
things get too rowdy, of course.
I'll start putting my armor back on.
He begins getting up and just walks away.
Can I glance around and see if anyone's been eavesdropping on us? Anyone showing interest in our conversation?
Go ahead and make a perception check. Hondo and Gord, we are not going to play out your side of this story.
28.
But if you are looking for... if we're looking for companionship, you can easily find masseuses. You can find ladies of the night in which to satiate you. Just let how much you want to drop coin wise, and there you go. But before we do that, 28, honestly, you are pretty confident that anyone who was kind of eavesdropping didn't get anything of note. And if they were, it was more just they happened to be nearby and Ignacio was kind of just embellishing in his speech. No one reads to you as sneakily listening.
Super suspicious, yeah.
Yeah, just a bunch of people. And honestly, half the people here didn't even notice when you guys all came here. They're just off in their own little frivolities.
All right.
How
much are you guys looking to spend here, Gord, Hondo?
I'm looking for the combo deal. I want massage. I want, lady of the night, full action.
You will receive that for top shelf. You're going 50 gold. You'll be here for the next hour or two. You'll be happily
satiated.
Yeah,
50 gold, consider it done.
there you go.
And I during the thing, can I just ask her about the general? Hey, have you ever been with the general? Know anything about him?
Sure. Make a just a straight charisma check. D20 plus whatever your charisma is. And Gord, are you replicating the same package?
Gord wants the entire. I want an orgy. I want men. I want women. I want tabaxis. I want orcs. I want multiple races, multiple sexes. Hondo is invited. I want the whole package. Platinum. I don't care what I'm spending.
I want, in that case, give me both of you persuasion checks on top of this first roll, Kev.
Okay. So persuasion 5.
Great for you.
23.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Persuasion's plus 16 and a circle, so that's 10 and 16, 26.
Between the two of you, as you guys begin just getting your massages, Gord, you can mark off the same coin, 50 gold. You begin getting these just amazing massages, just taking out knots that have been working their way into your shoulders and into your lower back and, just all through your legs, just feeling very, very relaxed. But in just your natural oozing of charisma and the plentiful coin you both have presented here, you are led into a rather lavish room where there's already some people who are kind of going about their own business, and just by sheer charisma and your sheer how much fun you guys are having, other people begin to kind of get intrigued. You more than welcome them into your party, and suddenly there's a solid 15, 16 figures all in about this room, and it's been quite an afternoon. At that point, I'm going to say you guys are here for the next 3 hours because it gets wild. But Hondo, in the mix of this orgy you have created here today, you do not get any further information on the general, unfortunately, as your mind is very quickly taken from any kind of business you may have thought of and reassessed properly. In the market, Allie and Mary, you guys are just kind of keeping an eye on the city and just watching as people are coming and going, trying to listen and see if you can catch any rumors, any bits of information. I'd like you both to make perception or one with advantage.
Your perception's better than mine if you want to do it.
Sure, I can do that. Well, the first one's a natural 1, so good for that advantage. The second one is 17 plus 7, so 24. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
You guys, for the next hour, then 2 hours, as time creeps by, you take a position up on one of the fountains for a while, and then kind of just begin moving. This both of you just kind of lazily kind of walking through the streets, seeing if you can catch anything, and then take another spot and just slowly kind of doing this like faint circle around, just listening in on as many conversations and as many little bits of pieces as you can. You catch another one of those figures kind of not selling, but giving away the independent daily, though it seems to be the same copy, the same stories, the same information as you had previously already seen. You pass by an interesting bar / tattoo shop called Needles. And you can see that there's this peculiar kind of juxtaposition in the midst of this active market, that there's this kind of seedy bar. And you just watch as these two pairs of like stumbling, drunken, like fools have full, freshly like tattooed like side faces. Like both their half faces are tattooed and still kind of bleeding as they stumble out laughing and just like wander off into the night. And you kind of take a moment to like peer inside, and you can see behind the bar and just kind of making its way around this very dingy, dark looking bar, this spined, this gray mottled skin spined creature that looks like those you've seen in hell, though I don't think you've encountered, but this like pointed devil with hundreds of little like porcupine spines all over its body. And you can see there's a couple of figures in here who look on the shady end of things. You don't catch any particular words shared that immediately jump to. However, Mary, you do catch the phrase in like a thieves' cant. They're discussing amounts of sulfur and saltpeter. Those being your tinkering background, being elements used in explosives and in black powder elements, and you catch that in amongst this as you're walking past. As you guys continue and spend the next little while making your way around, let's see.
Any sight of any more of the crimson coin?
That's what I was just kind of getting to my notes to see like where certain figures would be. I would say you do notice at one point 3 of them kind of down an alley as you guys are kind of coming around one corner. You see 3 figures down an alley, and they're just kind of putting the boots to somebody on the ground. And you can immediately recognize the 3 are Crimson Coin members, very obviously wearing the sashes and capes of the Crimson Coin. And they're just in the process of shaking down and beating someone in this kind of tucked away alley. What do you do?
Oh, fuck. How many of them are there?
3.
Oh, shit. The baby monitor's speaking. 1 second. Sorry. Oh, and it's just going to screen. I'm going to mute for a second.
All right. Allie, what do you do?
I'll just follow her lead.
Mary's looking at the sun. You got to take charge, probably.
Oh no.
Regardless, you guys both begin making your way down. Go ahead and make a perception check to see if you can spot any more details as you guys begin making your way down this darkened alley.
Do you want me to do it this time, or do you want to do it again, since you have the perception?
In this case, let's get you to do it.
Yeah? Okay. Oh, not great. I rolled a 3.
Yeah, immediately, like, the 3 members, as they're just, like, beating the shit out of this person, you're just trying to see, like, who are they, what's happening here, trying to get a gauge of, like, what's going on, like, what get the gauge of, like, who's doing what and why are they doing this. Just watching them just beat down on whoever this is, you just feel that anger, and you just don't even think about what it is. You both just begin making your way into the alley, getting closer and closer. They're about 20, 30 feet ahead of you. What are you doing?
I'll just kind of turn to Mary and be like, it's your call. What
Fuck.
do you want?
3 of them. There's a dude or someone on the ground. Oh no, I'm gonna be fucking stupid again.
Do you think we can do it sneakily?
You know what? Shit, no, I'm not attuned to that. You can
I
be
picture
someone
this
else, right?
conversation. Well, this guy's just getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah,
And then just being like, oh, dang.
Well, okay. How far down the alley is this group compared to where we are?
like 20, 25 feet ahead of you.
And on either side of the alley, like there's no like hiding.
You can see there's a couple of like crates and barrels and things, but like if they weren't actively like beating on somebody, they would have seen you by now.
Okay, I have a dumb idea. Elena, just tuck back behind the wall, and I'm going to kind of pull her around so that we can't see. I'm going to try to summon Mira, and just have like a dive bomb down the alley, and hopefully just scare the shit out of them.
Okay. Are you trying to make an attack with her? Like I think there's like a hoof attack or something, or are you just trying to make like an intimidation, like swoop flyby?
Like potentially like clip one of them, or like something hopefully just to scare the shit out of them, or at least distract enough so the person could get the fuck out of there.
Okay. Then make an intimidation with advantage.
So what, using her stats?
Using her stats.
Oh, I'm pretty sure her charisma's not very good. Second. Same as mine. That's appropriate.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a natural 19. So dirty 20.
Okay. As you kind of tuck back around and you and Allie stay on the outside, having this moment of like concern of like, you don't want to make another scene. You don't want to bring the Crimson Coin back down on you for the second day in a row. What do? You can't let this just go. And both of you are kind of caught in this in between. You kind of hold into your armor and you feel that attunement, you feel that connection to Mira, and you call to her. And just like from the kind of no sun, this kind of hazy sky, there's just this faint, just kind of sun blare as she just dives down and using your like telepathic connection, swoops down the alley, like wings spread wide, and then tucks them in close, as the alley's pretty tight, and she just like swoops down and just kind of clips over top of them. She knocks one to the ground and like he goes tumbling. The other two are able to just duck as she just swoops back up and like carries back up into the sky, and you hear all 3 of them just like, what the fuck was that? What was that? And they just like start beginning to get up and like look up into the sky. You can hear the tinkering of kind of metal and like this kind of clicking sound as one of them begins kind of rushing in your direction. And the other 2 are still just kind of standing in place, still kind of rolled over. What do you guys do now?
How, they're rushing in our direction. How wide is this alley?
It's like 10 feet wide.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we like lure them into the alley somehow? So we're not.
They're in the alley, so like you guys would be on the outside of the alley. Like they're already down there.
Yeah, I'm thinking of taking out my immovable rod and just holding it kind of near the ground about shin level and clicking it on in the path and then just waiting.
Okay. You place it very quickly, and like a moment later, there's a dull thud as one of them falls, and like you can hear he's like, oh fuck, and he kind of looks up and spins and sees both of you, and looks and meets your eyes.
I mean, I'm just trying to stand there casually, non-threateningly. That was like a reach over, and then like a not in a way that looked like I was expecting or engaging, but that was the plan. I don't know what Alana's doing.
I'm flexing my muscles so I look massive.
The two of you, casual and aggressive, standing over, watches this guy kind of spins in the dirt and kind of stands up, or the cobblestone, kind of dusts himself off, and you can see he's kind of limping on his one leg as he kind of like reaches to his hip, where you can see the holster for these firearms. And he kind of looks and says, kind of has a little twist as he looks back and forth between the two of you and says, "You fucks again. We heard about you.
Can I help you?
You can
Look
get
like
the
you've
fuck out of
bummed
the
your knee
city."
there. Love to. That'd be great.
And why don't you do it? Get the fuck out of here.
It's called a fucking cage. Are you an idiot? Okay. Has the person who's been beat up still there? Have they moved?
It's 30 feet away. It's, it looks like they're still laying there. The other two have sprinted off the other direction.
Okay.
This guy, as you kind of look down the alley, says, "If I had a couple other guys here and this was fair, it wouldn't end well for you."
I'll take a very good long look up and down him and just a kind of creepy smile. You keep telling yourself that, buddy.
Look, you fucked up just being here. One day, the general's gonna come calling. You're gonna think you're being all slick. Ain't gonna end well. He just begins kind of backing away.
I, in his view, lean down and unclick my rod. I'm gonna make sure I tell Mira if the other people are gone. I guess I can dismiss her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't want her to draw any extra attention after any of this.
Do you dismiss her then?
Yeah, it's probably a mistake because I only get her once a day, but there's nowhere for her to hide. Wait, where's Fern?
Fern and Keith are in the stables of Second Chances.
Maybe instead, are there any, like, what's the rooftop situation around here? Is there a way that I could tell her just to kind of stay tight up high somewhere where she can't be seen? Or is that not really a...
There's some that are like flattened areas that could be hidden. Like you're just not sure if people would make their way up there and see a fucking Pegasus and have a reaction of some kind.
I'm thinking just for now until I make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly find a spot for her to chill for
an hour.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay. Once that guy limps off, go check the person who got the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
Sure. You guys begin making your way down the alley, and you can see there is this kind of elderly gentleman. As you get close, you can see like doesn't look so good. He's alive, he's not dead, but like you can gather, both of you know, like probable broke ribs. His nose is busted, lost a couple of teeth, big black eye, just kind of just not in good shape. But he'll live. But he's unconscious right now.
Do we have anything we can give him to help him?
Just be potions, which I don't actually know that I have any on me right now. I think we bought some.
Spell gem.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have the spell gem.
Oh yeah. Can I use the cure wounds on him?
Absolutely. You reach into your pack and you pull out the spell gem with the cure wounds, the second level cure wounds. Go ahead and roll that. 2d8. I believe with the spell gem it uses the modifiers and stuff of the caster, so it should be +5.
Okay. That is a 3 and a 5.
So 8 and 5. Okay. You guys watch as the figure kind of begins to, some of the wounds on the face begin to kind of close up. He still lost the teeth, unfortunately, and you think that some of the ribs may kind of find their way magically back as he begins to kind of wake up, and you can see this older man, very deep wrinkles, wearing just like, looks kind of like a simple apron and like, simple average clothes. This hat that has been kind of fallen away, and his hair is all kind of mussed up. He's like balding mostly, but he begins to kind of sit himself up. He says, well, thank you for whatever you did. They're gone?
For now, whatever was done to piss him off, you might want to lay low for a bit.
I suppose they came to my store, my shop, claiming I owed them money. I never met them before.
Oh, fucking grifters. Help him up.
Help him up. He's like 4.5 feet tall. He's very hunched over, like his whole back is like curved. Well, thank you, both of you. I feel surprisingly good, given having taken the first beating I've had in about 20, 30 years.
Do you need help getting back to your shop?
Oh, it's just through there. And he kind of points to a back door in the back of this alley. And you can see it's just kind of like, you can see the part where it had been kicked out and it just kind of fallen back closed, but you can see the splintered wood on the one side as he begins kind of making his way forward and kind of thumbs the wood and takes away some of the pieces and says, would either of you like a Danish?
Sure.
Like immediately melts a little bit and tries not to.
You follow this man inside, and indeed you see a very small little bakery, and he collects some Danishes for you and some stale coffee, and just kind of helps you just have a little meal together as he just kind of sits down by himself and kind of begins like bandaging and working on some of his wounds and like cleaning himself and washing himself off.
So the Crimson Coin don't usually come around this area? This is new?
Well, I've seen them in the area, but they've never come here. I've never engaged them with any of their services. They kept claiming that I owed them protection money. I don't need protection. If I need protection from them, why would I pay? I suppose maybe that's what their offer is pay so that I do not get attacked by them.
It's unfortunately pretty standard wannabe gang stuff. Not necessarily specific to here. Have they been this offer, air quotes, of protection? Have you heard of any other of your neighbors having to deal with this? It seems odd to come out of nowhere.
This protection money is kind of a new thing. I haven't heard of this before, but we've been shaken down in other ways. They controlled for a time. They would install toll routes and stoppages where they would muscle us down and take coin for passage through certain streets, and they would add extra taxes on certain items that are hard to come by, and they would take some of whatever they thought would be suitable for their needs. It's been a work in progress.
It's interesting. I wonder what has spurred this. Look at Alana. Potential need for new cash flow is always an interesting motivator.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, for now, keep low. Might not hurt to give yourself the evening. Keep anything that happened here, just, keep it to yourself. Don't draw any extra attention.
I'm not afraid. There are people like you out there. Both of you came to help. There was a fight in the bazaar last night. There seemed to be other folk like yourselves there, ready to fight back.
We heard that. Yeah, we heard that there was. We're just trying to, no one needs to deal with that bullshit. But keep yourself safe.
I will keep myself safe, but I think that something needs to be done about these ruffians. I hope others are standing up like you did.
Well, I'm sure they'll get their just due, but if you do feel nervous at all, please head to the second chances, okay? Don't you take any chances. And head to the second chances.
Oh, that's very good. And he takes a little note and writes that down.
I love him so much. How are the pastries? Are they great?
They're pretty good.
They're probably this morning batch and it's the afternoon, so they're slightly going on the stale side.
They're not super fresh, but you can. The filling is still very it's lovely sweet. It's kind of this raspberry filling, which is nice.
I'll just turn to Mary and then quietly whisper to her in a tone he can't see, if we find those monsters again, we're killing them. I don't even care. We're killing them.
Okay.
Poor man. He's just so good.
This is amazingly delicious. Well, if you, my friend here said, I almost said her name. Like my friend here said, let's just. You can always get a second chances for now. There's some people there who can hold their own, but we didn't get your name actually. That was a little rude.
Oh, not to worry. You can just call me Harry, and
Harry.
I will keep second chances in mind. Absolutely, that was very kind of you. I didn't catch your names either. My apologies.
Oh, Sarah.
And
Roxanne. Again, we don't want to right now draw any undue attention to ourselves, especially given,
Of course. Well, Sarah, Roxanne, it has been a pleasure, though odd circumstances. I think I shall go lay down for a little while.
That's probably a good idea, yeah.
I hope to see you again, and if you ever come by this little shop again, a Danish for free, of course.
Much appreciated.
And put a bell on that door so you can hear when people are coming in.
Another good idea. And he just goes to scribble that
down. If he starts to go upstairs, or I'm going to try to find a way. How much money do I have? Just not a lot, but just 5 gold. I'm going to try to tuck it somewhere. And if I can't, don't worry about it. Just write, in case of emergencies, brackets for protection, in case those guys come back so that he can pay them.
Okay. Easy enough to do. At this point, you guys exit out the way you came, and you watch as very rapidly, all of you, with the exception of Gordon Hondo, who are busy watching other things, the light of the day begins to shift very rapidly, almost, if you turned off individual lights over top, and it just slowly, this wave of deep, dark, kind of purple sky just creeps across, and night settles in rather rapidly. I'd say at this point, Val, was there anything you wanted to do back over by the Ivory House, or were you making your way back this way?
No, I'll probably make my way back that way. Maybe just try and go on the earring and say, hey, I'm heading back to second chances if you want to meet me there.
I'd say that would be around this point that the three of you could reconvene. Gordon and Hondo are going to be another hour or so in their ventures.
Their carnal pleasures.
Yeah. So is there anything you guys want to do, the three of you, or do you want to wait until the full party re-meets?
You just chill, have some food.
I think,
Yeah.
just pass on that it seems like they're doing, either they're in need of some cash or something's happened where they're really starting to shake down local vendors and they're not having it apparently. So also there's this bakery and they make really good danishes.
What? Did you get me one?
No, because we kind of got them for free and I didn't want to ask for an extra free one. But also, I feel like first thing like that might be a good place to grab breakfast because like first thing in the morning is when they're good.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go back there.
It's the best. Yeah, we just got to keep an eye out. Those Crimson Coin assholes are everywhere, and yeah, people aren't having it, which could be word about everything that's happened yesterday is getting around. Could be good for us, could not be good for us, and I haven't made that decision yet.
Feels good for us.
Also want to note another 3 gold for your dinner and an additional 3 gold if you're having any drinks with that.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, I'll take this from party funds with a little more time. Notes. Inventory.
In the following hours, you guys are reconvening. You finish having your dinner and any drinks you wish to have, and kind of catch up. And Vidane is kind of checked in on you and seen how you were doing. And just kind of, it's a busier night at Second Chances. It seems that some of the other folks and friends of his have come to like kind of aid in bringing him some coin to help with repairing some of the bar that was burned, and people are coming in for a big kind of dinner, and a lot more drinks are being drunk this night. So coin and ale is flowing well, and you guys are able to kind of just mingle amidst this crowd. But Vidane, his focus is all over the place tonight, so not a whole lot of focus direct to you. But after amidst all of this, a decidedly more relaxed Hondo and Gord return to Second Chances, and once more the wild cards are whole. What's the plan?
You guys could barely walk in. It's got some wobbly legs.
10 pounds lighter.
Oh.
All right, we're just gonna bypass that. Well, tonight, in hearing about you guys doing that kind gesture towards that man, we got to put another healing spell back in the spell gem, so I can do that later tonight. But yeah, we just want to make sure we got a plan. We could go to bed early tonight, get a real early head start on the morning, and try and find Mr. M.
Actually, it's a good point. I think a watch wouldn't be a bad idea, especially considering you said we might have a visitor again tonight.
Yeah, we might have our little
someone's
Henry Jr.
conscious.
I'll start the watch.
Oh.
All right, you want to start the watch? All right.
Quality family time. Yeah, is there
Would you wake me up
to...
Would you wake me up if Horace comes by though? Just to
Sure.
both to chat with him after you're done connecting.
Absolutely.
Playing catch.
Yeah.
Is there anything? We don't really have a plan for tomorrow, right? It's kind of just show up and try to talk potentially. Is there any other information we need to find out? Did we use either legend lore or scrying? Although scrying we learned probably isn't going to work.
Not today.
Okay.
Legend Lord, I thought maybe yesterday, but today nothing.
I'm not sure if there even is anything to do. I'm just trying to like check the boxes of the things to do for the end of the day.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything to legend lore.
The only thing I can think of is we already kind of went and talked to them though. Any of the like names and stuff that we got today.
Has to be of significance.
Like the inevitables, but like I don't know if that's actually helpful.
What I would say is it might be nice to talk to some of these people and talk about what we could expect in the clerk ward.
Oh shit! This is off topic. I forgot your fake name, Henry.
My name is Marty.
No, not you. I think I might have a lead on your splody shit. There's a very very sketchy looking, very much your crowd bar that's also a tattoo parlor. So lots of bad choices being made in there, I think. But I definitely heard some people talking about components that are kind of black powderish. So you might be able to find some sketchy leads on some nefarious items there. I don't know.
Thank you. I like this idea.
Well, yeah. Do you want to chat with some people here, see if they know anything about the clerk ward, maybe what's in the clerk ward, if there are certain places definitely to check out, certain places you might want to go if you want some privacy, something like that. You want to split up and try and ask some people?
Certain people to avoid.
Let's ask for Dane when he comes back around with some drinks.
Sure. Sorry. You guys spend the next 15-20 minutes just kind of catching up and chatting amongst yourselves, trying to plan and talk. But as Gordon and Hondo, you guys have kind of come back in. Vidane does make his way over and kind of claps you on the shoulder and says, "Well, it's nice to have the whole group back together again. Now, Master Blue and it was Milkshake, if I'm correct. Would you care for some food and something to drink?"
I could recharge, absolutely.
I need something to drink. I'm so dehydrated. I don't have any liquids left in my body.
Well, let me take care of that. Of course, I will happily get you something to drink. And Master Blue, would you care for some more of that ice wine? Or you're looking to keep away from that this time?
Oh no!
All right. I will do that.
Jesus Christ.
Master Milkshake, would you care for some ice wine, or would you care for more some spice cider, or maybe a honey mead?
I'll take the wine.
Coming right up. One second.
And begins to make his way away. A short few
We're supposed to ask him a question.
moments come back as he returns. Hondo, that'll be 5 gold for the ice wine, and Gord a single for the regular wine.
Jesus, shit's expensive here in the city.
It is pricey.
It is
This is like the most expensive thing on the bar.
Well, Hondo keeps ordering the top shelf. So it's the top shelf in New York. Go ahead and make a Constitution save, Hondo.
And you said 6 gold, did you?
5 for you, 1 for Gord. So. Oof.
And con save is +4, so 6 and 4, 10.
You once more you begin sipping back this ice wine, and it is nice. Like, it tastes really good, but almost like 2-3 sips in, you start kind of just getting the shivers, and if anything should occur in the next hour, your speed is halved once more.
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
As Vidane watches you take a couple of sips and just begins kind of chuckling to himself, and says, "Well, I believe you can hold your liquor, but it doesn't look like you can take the cold, which doesn't seem to fit with where you come from. But that's pretty good. You seem to enjoy that, though, eh?"
Oh, I tell you, on my own, I can't take the cold. You know, I need the warm embrace of a fine person to, keep me toasty.
Well. I ain't gonna offer myself up for that, so you're gonna need to go elsewhere.
Aren't you all embraced out at this point?
I'm telling you, your city has a fine establishment at that ivory place. So,
you've been to the
bathhouse.
Oh, well.
He certainly has.
And if you ever need to go there, mention my name, you'll get a deal.
Why? What did you do there? Henry.
How much did you spend?
Not what I did there. It's who
They pay you? Oh my God.
Well, my. I don't make my way up that way very often, but I'll keep you in mind if I ever do.
Same goes for Milkshake, man. That guy can do it.
You can say.
What was that, Roxanne?
Sorry, Roxanne, you trying to say something here? Nope. She can't get it out.
Where's Billy?
Funny. I'm just kidding. This milkshake brings the boys to the yard.
Oh, he certainly does.
Funny. It wasn't even funny.
That was worth it. That was really good.
Oh my god.
That was very-
I'm done. I'm out.
So are they.
That was funny.
And Verdane, actually a question for you after all that. We were actually thinking about heading to the clerk ward tomorrow. You ever been that way?
I haven't spent much time down the clerk's ward. Not much business from my time down there. What is it you need in the clerk's ward for?
We actually heard that someone we might know might be around there. We were hoping to speak to them, but we didn't really know anything about the clerk ward, what it entails.
Well, it was mostly just kind of bureaucracy and this kind of low-level business, and so some shipping and coming and going from there. It's kind of the not exactly the funnest spot in all of Sigil, if I had to say it. They got a nice park there, though. It's a real nice park down there, right in the middle of the clerk's ward. It's a real big park. It's outside of the ladies' place, it's kind of the only real nice park in the city. Other than that, I don't much about it, truthfully. I'm sorry. I wish I knew more.
Oh, that's quite all right. That park sounds lovely.
Well, if there's anything else, you let me know. Otherwise, you guys have a good night.
All right, appreciate it.
Is there anything more you wish to accomplish before retiring for the evening? Waiting to see if Horace makes his way back your way?
I'll do the attune swap if I can.
Easy enough.
Drop the scepter, attune to gem, put a spell in. I'll mark that off. Probably takes like 2 hours, right? To do a spell swap?
It's actually, so you'd have to attune, instantly you can just drop one. So like instantly attune to the spell gem, cast into it, and then drop it and come back to the dragon scepter. 2 hours. It's like 6:30, so like it'd be like 8:39. Like you guys are still getting an early night if you were to kind of call it here.
Probably a good idea because we gotta get up early. I'm gonna also swap attunement, Kyle. I'm gonna drop the shield for now and get the how to disguise again, just in case something like yesterday pops up and I need to beat someone's ass without looking like me.
Yep. Okay.
Because I just remembered that Elena can also do that
Mm-hmm.
now with her
Ellie's
tattoo.
got her
Yeah.
masquerade tattoo.
I thought I had that attuned, but then I remembered no, I never swapped it out because I had the shield in that fight.
I could have used that this whole time.
Otherwise, is there anything else for the evening? Or are you guys going to start going through your watch and end the day?
I think start the watch off.
Yeah, I think that should be, at least for me.
Okay, so Hondo is taking the first one. Is that what was agreed?
Yep.
Hondo, you begin the first round of watch as everyone kind of begins to take an early night in. Go ahead and make a perception check. Ooh, 14.
And perception is 14. 28.
Like I said, it's probably 9-10 o'clock when you guys are basically kind of settling in for the night to really lock it down, and everyone's starting to kind of go to sleep. And you kind of sit in the main kind of central room of your suite, and about around midnight, just about when you're going to kind of think about getting up and going to get somebody else to swap off with, you can hear something coming, someone kind of walking in the hallway outside. You can distinctively tell they're being quiet, but you're very perceptive. And there's this faint kind of just like faint little knock on the door. Very gentle.
I'm going to go to the door and I'll say, Horace, is that you?
Yeah. I'm in. Come on, hurry up.
All right. Open the door.
You open the door and you do in fact see the little massive eyes, but the little Horace as he scurries in past you and gets inside. Just, okay, you gotta let me in faster then, man. We got people out there who are looking for us, you know. You can't be standing in hallways all the time. It's crazy.
I need a favor from you, Horace.
I'm doing a favor for your other friend, but yeah, sure. What do you need?
Do you think you could obtain some explosives? We're talking about the kind of explosives that could take down a city block.
That's a lot of fucking explosives, man. That's a kind of a crazy amount.
Small. I can't be carrying around giant silos, you know. They've got to be compact.
I mean, have you ever thought of how much explosive you would need for that kind of a job? That's like months of work. That's a lot.
I know, but I mean, there must be some very powerful bombs that exist, you know?
Oh, I'm sure somewhere, but hey, you know what? Here, I'm not the guy to kind of do the math. I'm not the guy to tell you what you need and where to get it, but I know who to talk to. So if you want to, I know not far from here, we got a little meeting of my people. If you want to make your way out with, we got the chefs in town.
Ooh. Well, I'm ready to eat.
Let's go. Come on.
I'm good. I'll go. And let's just say I forgot that I was on watch, so no one's watching right now.
Okay. Hondo leaves, and quietly the two of you begin making your way out into the city streets. Go ahead and make a stealth check.
And so ends the wild cards.
You also
ambush.
forgot that you promised Valentine you'd wake him up when Horace got there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh shit. Okay, sorry. So stealth check 10 and 17, 27.
Okay. Horace and you kind of begin making your way very quietly right back out the back door the way you went the night before in the fight. And you begin very quickly just kind of skirting your way through the crowd and keeping to the shadows and making your way over. And you can see and feel the heat of the whistling giants once more as you kind of circled all the way around. And Horace is moving pretty quick, but you're pretty quick too. It's not hard to keep pace with him. And he doesn't say anything to you this whole time. It's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes of like rushing through people and like you keeping pace, but both of you doing it very casually and stealthily. And you get right in front of the whistling giants and you kind of curve around the back and you follow that same path that you didn't do this before, but it was Valentine, Allie, and Mary who had kind of tracked him behind here. And he leads behind the whistling giants. And there's just like a kind of a mound of, there's like crates and boxes and like some like board that's kind of over top of this little dark spot. And he kind of kicks over this board and it falls away. And you can see this little hole. And it's about maybe 3 feet wide and about 2 feet tall. It looks like, you know, you'll fit through it, but it's not going to be comfortable. But he just begins like scrabbling down and he's just like, come on, it's down here. It's a little ways, but we got to kind of go in a little incognito, you know my people, you know how it is. Come on. And he kind of begins scurrying down.
This is an interesting way to go.
You follow through?
Yep.
Hana, you like pull yourself through, and on the other side, you're kind of like pulling yourself under the floor of the whistling giants, and you can feel the heat of the forge is like right above, and it's immediately just kind of cooking and baking, and you're just trying to pull yourself through the dirt, and it's this faint slope down, and then it just drops off. But you're very nimble. Go ahead and make an acrobatics check. Yeah. 18.
And acrobatics is 11, 29.
You don't even see Horace ahead of you kind of make this tumble and fall as you just focus on like pulling yourself forward, and you go to pull and you just kind of reach that fulcrum where you just tumble over, but you like do a full somersault and land on your feet, and you fall about maybe 5-6 feet, but you land perfectly fine, and you kind of stand up and look about, and you can see you're in this kind of like almost what you would expect is like a cellar. But you can see this where there was like a hatch to go up above. That space has been like removed. Like this was a cellar, and then the Whistling Giants was built on top, and there's no connection. Like this is an old defunct cellar. And Horace is kind of like gesturing to you. Come on. It's through here. And he like it's over in the corner, and you can see there's a big crack in the wall. And he kind of scurries under the crack, and you can see light on the other side of it. And as you kind of begin pulling your way through this crack in the wall, you pull into, you can hear the sounds of like kind of rushing water as you kind of pull yourself into what is like kind of the side of this sewer area. And Horace just kind of gestures and pulls you across, and you guys begin together making your way across these rocks and like this half broken stone path into this kind of open sewer area. And you can see paths of sewage going left and right and kind of breaking off, and you can see grates at the ends. But across these multiple different kind of islands and barriers and areas of stone pathway, you can see a couple of tents and a couple of makeshift settlements where there's like people that are kind of cooking, and they're actively like a small anarchist civilization down here. And Horace kind of begins scurrying forward, and you see he's kind of leading you towards, there's a large bonfire pit on one side, and sitting there alone, you see this rather large orc, big tusks kind of both rising up from this massive orc. Big tall back, you can see he's shirtless, and there's just hair just all over his chest, and his back is like a mound of hair, pretty big like kind of bulging gut, and he's just sitting there and he's just munching on like a typical kind of like turkey leg roast as you make your approach. And Horace is going like, hey, chef, we got a prospective customer here. And the guy kind of takes another bite, looks up at you, says, what can chef do for you? Are you looking?
My name is Henry the Blue.
All right.
And I need some help acquiring some explosives, or bombs, as you might call them.
No, explosives is fine. I can concoct such a thing. I don't have any of the elements on me now, but if you bring them to me, I can make them for you.
That would be lovely. You see, in my travels with the dwarves, I was presented with an explosive vial that could probably destroy a city block or something like that. Do you think it would be possible for you to develop such an explosive material in such a small size?
Vial? I don't think I can do it.
It doesn't have to be a vial. It could be a bomb, grenade, but just compact. I can carry in a bag,
I can make you some dynamite. But it'll take me time to make you an amount that you would need to blow up a city block. You get me, a pound of sulfur, a pound of saltpeter, a pound of charcoal, and a pound of guano. I can make you up 4 or 5 sticks of dynamite. Now, I won't do a city block, but it'll do a big chunk in a wall. You get me more pounds, I get you more explosives. The more you can get me, the more explosives I can get you. That's how this works.
I look at Horace and I say, Horace, can you get these materials to make 12 sticks?
I mean, it's kind of a tall order there, boss. These things can, you get caught with them and you get, well, you don't get sent to prison. You get sent right to the guillotine, you know. So, unless you're dropping big coin in my hands, I don't know if I'm doing that for you.
How much do you think this will cost?
How much you want me to do it for you?
Yes.
How much you got?
Well, I don't even know what the materials cost. Are we talking like,
Well, hey,
10 gold a pound?
It ain't the cost of the materials, friend. It's the cost of the threat. You get caught with the materials and your head gets chopped off. That's pretty expensive.
I will give you, let's start. How does 100 gold sound?
100 gold sounds like a tip on top of the several hundred you should pay.
Okay, materials and your fee, 220.
220. For 220, I can get you like enough for one stick.
I see how you're playing this game.
It ain't
All
a
right.
game, man. This is my life. But for coin, I
400.
would consider it.
400 all in.
I can't get you enough for 400. I can get you a couple. That's a lot of coin. I'd be willing to do it. I can get you a couple of sticks worth.
I would need at least 5 sticks with that. Could you do it?
Not for 400. I can't do it for 4. For 4,
All right, 500. 500, 5 sticks.
all right, 100 a stick, and then my 100 fee. So 600 is all said and done. I get you enough for 5 sticks.
Okay, I can do that. But these better be a good sticks, sir.
If I get caught and I die for it, you still owe 600 gold. You got to give it to Chef.
Very well. But if you do get caught, just tell them that
Henry the Blue sent me to get all this shit so you can blow up a city block. Yeah, that's what the fuck I'm gonna tell him.
no, you don't have to say. You just tell them that anything happens to you and heads will roll.
Well, yeah, they're gonna do that to me. However, it's just made me think. I'm gonna tack on an extra 150 for a let's not talk about Henry the Blue clause here. But I think we're up to 750 to make sure I don't mention your name.
Okay. 700
And
seems
50.
fair. 700. Come on.
All right, fine. 700. But I can still talk about the wrong crowd. And of course, Martin wanted these explosives for some nefarious plot. That's okay, yeah?
I like that idea.
Okay.
I think that's good.
That seems fair. Okay.
By the way, he needs to talk to you after this. He needs help.
Martin does?
Yes.
Well, why did we come here first? I don't want to go back there now.
Shh. I know. I wasn't thinking. I just had bombs on the mind. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do you know what he wants to talk about?
It was serious stuff. It's not stuff that you joke around. This is deep intel on the city.
Deep intel on the city. Oh, okay. Yeah, he hired me to look into some shit. He also mentioned my dad. I don't know what was going on, how he knows, my family, because I don't know my family. I don't know how he knows that. I guess I do want to kind of learn that information, but
I mean, family's overrated. Don't worry about that. But he does have other stuff that help.
nah, you're right. Nobody needs a fucking family. That's bullshit. Family is who you find along the way,
Exactly. Chef here looks like a guy. That's your family.
Chef just looks up at you and just. All right. Well, give me half now, and I'll take my other half when I get you what you need.
I will do it.
You pull out 350 gold, and Chef kind of reaches, kind of imposes, doesn't reach, but he imposes himself and says, "You got quite a bit of coin there, my friend. You looking to perhaps see some of these wares the old Chef here's got?"
Ooh, I am interested.
I'm, as I say, by name, I'm a chef. I cook things up. I make things that are repurpose things. You know, you get some bits and pieces off of monsters and creatures. I got a little bit of know-how. I make them. I can reuse them and give you some of their boosts, some of their abilities.
I am very interested.
All right, well, you're looking to get real. You look like a speedy guy, but you probably don't have the speed of a quickling. Or maybe you got the eyes, the need to see like the deep dragons. See with blind sight. You can use some of that. Maybe you need a little bit of making somebody shut the fuck up. I got a hag's iron needle that might do that trick.
Ooh, I can't tell you how many people I need to shut up sometimes.
You want to talk about, blowing some shit up? Well, how about breathing the breath of dragons? I can accomplish some of that.
Ooh, I like that.
How much coin you got in that little purse of yours?
Well, let's start with the items you're talking about. So you said the last one was a dragon's breath. Was this?
I'm going to lose the voice because I'm just going to explain what this does.
Okay.
And it's just going to grate my voice. The dragon's breath. So all of these have a big boon and then a little bit of a negative to it, as they are kind of like little jank makeup, but it can be fun. So the dragon's breath potion acts as like a dragon's breath potion that you can get, but it's got a little twist. So you can drink back the potion, and for an hour, you can exhale a dragon's breath of a random element. So once you've consumed it, you have 3 uses that are an action to use. They deal 4d8 points of randomly determined damage, and it's randomly determined what the cone or line and the type of save is for it. So you roll a d6 when you say, I'm going to use the dragon's breath. You roll a d6, and you either get fire, cold, poison, lightning, acid, or thunder damage. And each of those is either a cone or a line, and a dex, con, or strength save. And it's all determined randomly. So it's like you don't necessarily know exactly which one you're going to get out. It's going to deal 48 points of damage one way or another, but you're not sure exactly what it is. So it's a little bit of randomness, but it's good. Like elemental damage can be fun. Which one did you want to know about next?
Blindside sounds interesting.
The deep dragon's eyes is literally the eyeball of a deep dragon. You got to eat it, and you have to succeed on a Constitution saving throw. On a failure, some shit happens, but on a success, you gain blind sight out to a range of 60 feet for 1 hour. So blind sight is you can perceive it's what it sounds like, I guess. You can perceive without relying on sight within a specific radius. So if through a fog cloud, you can see as if it's like echolocation. So if and you can see through illusions, you can see through other elements that are going to give you, like, if it's completely pitch darkness, you have blind sight, you're okay. If someone's invisible and passes by you, you'll sense them, kind of Daredevil-like.
And the speed one?
This quickling speed, your walking speed increases by 60 feet. Attacks against you have disadvantage, and you gain the benefits of evasion while you have this basically adrenaline surge running through your body. However, for every round that your speed is increased, you have to succeed on a con save with a kind of a modifying DC when the effect fades. So if you when you fail the save, or after a certain period of time, your body locks up and you're paralyzed for 1d4 plus 1 rounds.
Sure. That's okay.
Big consequence, but as long as you can succeed on the saves, your walking speed is increased by 60 feet, and all attacks against you have disadvantage, and you get an evasion.
Okay.
So it's kind of like haste plus, but with a downside.
So I will look at the chef and I'll say, how much for the 3?
You want dragon's breath, the quickling speed, and the deep dragon's eye?
make a persuasion check.
Was there a fourth one, Kyle?
There's actually a couple more, actually.
Sure.
There are abyssal chicken wings. They are chicken wings that cause you to sprout small, leathery, flesh-covered wings, giving you a fly speed of 30 feet for 1 minute. However, it's not sustained flight. You can have a fly speed of 30 feet for 1 minute. However, at the end of each of your turns, the wings stop flapping and you would fall to the ground. So you can kind of keep flying as long as you land on solid ground, then fly, land on solid ground, fly, land on solid ground.
So
Or
basically, you have to make sure you come down before you.
You just got to touch ground or be willing to fall.
Okay.
There's a cat nap. You get the benefits of a short rest by only taking 10 minutes, during which time you're considered unconscious. So like knocks you unconscious, but you can use a full short rest in 10 minutes instead of an hour. However, at the end of the 10 minutes, you have to roll on the wild magic surge table as if you just cast a spell on yourself. So lots of randomness could happen there. And then finally, there's a spell drinker. You can drink a potion to regain a spell slot of 1st to 5th level. However, you can choose 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. And you gain that spell slot back. However, you have to roll a number of d6s equal to the slot that you regain, and you lose HP equal to the rolls.
Oh, and the Hag's Needle.
The Hag's Needle, as an action, you can make a strength-based melee attack. So it's a strength-based attack, same as any of your attacks, but using strength instead of dexterity. And embed this nail into the flesh of a creature and speak its command phrase. When you do, the creature's mouth is magically sewn shut. They cannot speak, and spells that require a verbal component are impossible to cast. The silenced creature can use an action to attempt to remove the needle by making a DC 16 strength check, and ends the effect on a success.
Okay.
But there is a slight downside. That's a secret.
Okay. I think I like the needle. The dragon's breath sounds pretty good, yeah. And I think that's it. I think those sounded the best.
Did you like the quick one or no? The quickening one?
I think I can live without the quick one.
Cool.
Sorry, so Hag's Needle and Dragon Breath.
And sorry, the potion one, was that a potion to heal?
So Spell Drinker is the opposite, actually. You gain a spell slot back, but you lose health in exchange. Okay. Catnap would get you health back while getting like a short rest in 10 minutes, but has Wild Magic Surge that anything could happen.
Okay.
You're not sure.
Catnap then. Yeah, those three. Needle, nap,
breath. Okay. You watch as this whole time he's kind of been showcasing this stuff. He's just like kind of unrolling it on this tabletop and like pulling it out of satchels, and you can just see bits and pieces of monsters just kind of hanging off around all this little tent in this little corner of this sewer that he's kind of called his home here. Did you roll your persuasion today?
Oh yeah.
I forget what that was.
Persuasion. So I rolled a 3.
Oof.
And persuasion is luckily a 10 automatic, so it's 26. 10 and 16.
He looks over at Horace and he says, "Well, you've been throwing some good coin around, little friend here, but you're also pretty willing to sacrifice his life for your gain. Now, I'm not necessarily against that. It's just a point of order. I want to put it out in the world there and say I might take a little bit more of your coin. Maybe it's fair. But if you're interested in these things, I think it all balances out in the end. If you want. Let's see. The Dragon's Breath and the Catnap. Those are worth 500 apiece. But that Hag's Needle, that's a pricey one. That's a hard one to get. That one costs us straight 1,000.
So you're saying 2,000 for the 3?
That's about right.
Would you do 1,200 for the 3?
I would not.
I mean, I'm a good customer here, you know. I'll tell you what, if there's anyone you
Where are
need,
you a good customer?
is there anyone you need dead? I can take them out for you.
Oh, don't you worry. I can take care of myself and any of my enemies out there. I also got a whole network of people willing to throw themselves on the line for me. So I think I'm quite all right. But you want to make if you can, I know you got Horace here kind of looped into your explosives, but if you can get some of those materials from me, I'd be willing to trade some of that in exchange for some of that coin.
Sorry, like, just I understood. So some of the materials I would give, like some of the materials that Horace gets for these, he'd get.
You can either use some of the ones that you've paid Horace to get and trade into him for some of it, or you can try and find it yourself.
Okay. Okay, let's say. Also, by the way, are you interested in dragon scales at all? For a trade?
Depends on the kind of scale and the quality of the scale and how
they're-
old the scales are.
They are top quality scales.
What kind of scales we talking?
What's good? Anyone remember?
We
Didn't
we
take
fought a lot of
scales-
dragons. You took some
just
cold.
Didn't
You don't
we
have
just
any
take
cold
scales? Didn't we just take scales off the dragons we just fought?
Off Tiamat?
I feel like
No.
I remember at least one.
You'd have like a scale off of like Tiamat, but that's not trade worthy. You need like
That's too bad.
enough to like make something with.
The shadow dragon wasn't kind of just disapparated into smoke.
It's mostly
Mhm.
The
just smoke
white
and shit.
dragon. The problem, I think I'm just trying to think of all the dragons we fought now. Null was like decaying because he was already kind of undead.
Yeah, the only
We have-
scales that you had at a time that would have been worth stuff have been turned into cold armor from the white dragon.
Trying to remember, we
With
fought so
3
many
Yeti
monsters. And
scales.
Hondo
3 Yeti
already
fingers.
3 Yeti fingernails. Did you get anything else from the hags?
Just the broom is
Bags?
what I remember.
Yeah, the brooms.
Yeah, just the brooms, the
Fairy
fairy
wings.
dust,
fairy wings.
the Yeti fingers.
Oh yeah, I do have the wings. I have butterfly wings. Is that it?
They're fairy wings, but
Fairy
yeah.
wings.
That's something.
Would you be interested in fairy wings?
Probably do something with you, yeah. If you're willing to throw, how many you got?
I believe I have 4 fairy wings, but I'll give you 2, and I'll give you a pound of each of the materials that are needed. So basically, I said 5 sticks. I'll take 4 sticks. 1 pound can go to you.
That and 1,500, you got yourself a deal.
It's a good deal.
I think that's a fair price. Okay.
All right.
That's his big mitt to shake yours. I don't have these items set in D&D Beyond, so if you want to write somewhere, either in a notebook or in your D&D Beyond like notes,
Yeah, I can do that.
you can write Hag's Iron Needle, Catnap, and Dragon's Breath.
Oof. That hag needle could be useful with Mordenkainen.
This is cool.
Oh geez, look at this thing.
All right, it is in.
Oh my god, I didn't realize you're unconscious during that 10-minute catnap. For someone like Gord, though, who gets their warlock spells back, like, that's 10 minutes. If we could protect Gord, and he would be back with all his spells.
Okay. As you and Horace depart, you return back to Second Chances. And I think Horace doesn't quite go all the way back with you. He's going to stay here, actually. I think this is where we're going to leave the game for the night. And we'll just
Because you
jump
find out
to the morning.
party's dead.
Oh yeah, they're long dead. Hondo's new anarchist friends. You guys will be playing next time.
Shoddy Horace. Can't wait.
We'll jump to the morning. The morning after this, Hondo with some new, fresh items in tow, and the promise of explosives to come.
Oh boy.
But now you guys are apparently going to hunt Mordenkainen down.
Yeah, great.
Jesus.
Super easy.
We'll see how that goes next time.
We'll just hunt down this incredibly powerful wizard, stick a needle in him to sew his mouth shut. But it might be cursed, so who knows what happens after that. And then bring him to the robot government.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us next time as the Wildcards attempt to hunt down the master of the mystic arts, Mordenkainen, hidden somewhere in the City of Doors. There'll be a new episode up every Tuesday, so stay tuned. But until then, keep exploring.